Good evening everyone, welcome to Walthamstow for the Fast Friday Night of 10,000s. We are very close to our opening race of the night. First of 5, we've got our first race at 6:20 going off soon, race 2 at 7:05, race 3 at 7:50, race 4 which will include the English Championship for the women, that's 8:30, and the final race, the men's championships, will be at 9:15. So as you can see, the athletes are getting ready at the start line. Big field for this opening race. We've got 34 entrants. I think we've counted a few dropouts, but I'll run through the start list to start with. We've got number 57 Julian Gievers from Kent, 95 Charlie McCarthy from Best Running Club, 86 Adam Lennox from Highgate Harriers, 92 Janine Macaronidis from Mornington Chasers, 141 Chris Schofield from Kent, 123 Kieran Page from Kent, 171 Lara Bromelo from Marshall Milton Keynes, 143 Satnam Singh from Datchet, 114 Joanna Colley from Cambridge and Coleridge, 150 Lydia Thompson from Mornington Chasers, 59 John Gilchrist from Kent, 100 James McKibben from North Devon AC, 87 Julian Lepetra from Victoria Park, 101 Abdullahi Mohammed, also from Victoria Park, 91 Raphael Machnik from Ealing Eagles, 161 Paul Woodmansey from East London Runners, 37 Andre Dahlkamp from Victoria Park, 130 Jessica Pryor from Trent Park Running Club, 88 Niels Christian Leiborg from Ealing Eagles as well, number 9 Yifei Valerie Wong from Victoria Park, number 12 Sophie Allen from Victoria Park, 121 Claire Oxlade from Kent, 77 Ruth Jones from Helpston Harriers, 175 Sarah Hanley from Kent, 110 Karen Murphy from Barnet, 155 Catherine Tyler from London Heathside, 118 Laurie Oliver from Kent, 136 James Robinson from Kingston and Polly, 41 Mandy Doran from Victoria Park, 144 Julie Watkinson from Wyndham, and 89 Lauren Longer. That's a big old field, and I've done a lot of talking in that first 2 minutes. Tim, you can say something. I'm taking a rest.
That is a big field. We're looking at 30 on the start list. I'm just counting here in front of me where sat about 20 minutes into the race, looking down at the start. I'm seeing around about at least 20, probably somewhere between 20 and 25, which I think is pretty good conversion rate. Obviously there is always a few dropouts before any race, but I think particularly with the weather there's always a question over how many are going to get to the start.
How long can we get into this live stream before we talk about the weather?
Yeah, I think we're going to need a tracker somewhere, just mark down one. But it certainly changes the race a bit. I think the weather, particularly, race 1 we're looking at around 36 to 42 minutes. I know the women's race will probably be one close to 33, 34, and the men's will be one sub 30. It's a 25% increase, so I think being in race 1 you're out there for a longer time, so I think the weather definitely, particularly early in the evening, so it's going to drop a couple of degrees later, but I'm feeling a slight breeze down this home straight. I'm not sure, what do you think, is that a comforting factor, do you think?
I'm not sure. I think it's tough wherever you look at it. A little breeze to cool you down, but at the same time there's no fun in running that headwind 25 times.
It is difficult. I think it's always nice in races, and particularly in 10s, to tuck in. So still milling, waiting for a bit more action at the start line. This race is being paced by Nathan Bowes. He is pretty easy to pick. Actually, he's got the bright orange singlet on. He's part of the Foot Running Club. Do you reckon he's been roped in by Barney?
I think he has. Yeah, trained coached by Barney Foot, who's organised this event today, so I think he's pulled a few strings, made sure we've got a good pacer. Because we've got pacers for every race tonight, so hopefully that'll drag the groups around, because I don't think many will be wanting to go to the front too early in this heat.
Yeah, it certainly helps. And Nathan's gone just under 16 minutes for 5k, so I don't think he's going to be troubled too much by this pace. But it'll be interesting to see how long he sticks with it.
Yeah, I think it should be a good race. We've got a fairly close PBs here, so we should still see some groups managing to work together, and we're almost ready to get started with this first race of the evening here at Walthamstow. Once we get going, we'll run through a few of the athletes to look out for. And one other thing to say, if you're in the area, come on down. There's food trucks, beers. Be a great evening. Lovely weather for spectating. Here we go.
Just poised, we were called up to the line and something not quite settled yet, so starters sent them back. I don't know if you can pick it up on the stream, but athletes are wearing a band around a lot of them look like they're wearing it on their right ankle, maybe one or two on the left, but that is to help with the timing. So I think often last year we had 400 metre splits for every lap, which certainly helps.
Yeah, we should say all the start lists and results when they're available will be available on Open Track. Success, and we're away with the first race of the evening.
James McKibben, number 100's wearing a dark blue vest with the light blue stripe. He set a
very strong early pace.
very strong early pace. The rest have sort of tucked in. We've got Nathan there, you'll see in the bright orange. He's been giving a little move on, notice there, but overtaken by a second athlete, but strung out into a line pretty early.
Straight away. We've got a nice second group there, but I think that was James McKibben actually that's gone off, and he is set out with some intent today. He's got a 35.53 PB, and that was actually set at this track last year on Fast Friday. He's a T20 athlete from North Devon. He's had a couple of races this season already, a little bit shorter stuff, so he's stepping up. 4:18 at the Loughborough International over 1500 metres.
Loves the park run too.
Loves the park run. Regular winner at Barnstable Park Run. Most wins at that event. You know how many, Tim?
Yeah,
is it because we share notes? I think you're going to be able to get it right.
I would have said around 20 or 30, but I think you're probably going to correct me and inflate some there.
78 wins at the Barnstable Park Run.
So sitting in second there, who's ahead of Nathan, you'll see sitting in third with orange. He's a marker for our pacer. In second was Kieran Page. He's running for Kent AC, so you see him with the navy vest and the red shorts. A couple of athletes wearing the hats in this race. Not a bad idea.
Definitely not a bad idea. We are sitting with our hats on, sun cream on. It is a lovely day, but it's going to be a tough day for running.
James is still out setting a fairly cracking pace. We'll see if we can try and get a 800 metre split. He's moving quite nicely, James. It's like he's almost running a 3K.
Yeah, moving well.
It's normally a really nice track to run Walthamstow. I'd say it's probably not the most protected of track venues in the UK in terms of sun and tree coverage, but yeah, feeling the full brunt of it.
Got a fair few Victoria Park and Tower Hamlets athletes in this one. You spot them with the white vest with the green and blue diagonal stripe. They've got the most entrants in this year's event. I think it was 24, so great turnout from them.
In that second group, you'll see there is, I think, in the tall split white and light blue singlet is Charlie McCarthy from the best running group, and also in that group is Lara Brimelow from Marshall Milton Keynes as well.
Already done one 10,000 this year's Lara. 37.33 PB earlier on at Highgate this year. Similarly tough conditions there. Also very hot evening, but cooled down for the elite races later in the day, so I guess we'll be hoping for the same here.
So still Kieran Page here sitting probably close to 200 metres now behind James McKibben. And Charlie McCarthy, that's right, sitting in that second group, taking spot just behind the pacer.
It's a very nice group there they've got, just following the pacer round.
Really important to work together. It's interesting balance, isn't it, of sitting on a group and pushing up and going with the pace versus running with yourself. You see Adam Lennox there from Highgate, who doesn't look too phased about not being with the group. He's setting a nice rhythm.
Happy with it. You see that group going through the finish line now, led by number 89, which is Lauren Longhurst from Mornington Chasers. Good few Mornington Chasers out here, the white vest with the orange and green vertical stripe lines. Here's another little quiz question for you, Tim. How many club records do you think Lauren Longhurst has at the Mornington Chasers Club?
How many club records? I think, yeah, so if she's doing a 10K, I think typically people that do 10 sort of focus on 3s and 5s and a bit of 10s as well. Your range can go down probably towards a good 1500 as well. So you're asking me this, so I'm gonna go 15, 3, 5, 10, and maybe 3 cross-country records. What's it, 7 or 8?
So it's 12. It's 12, and none of the records you mentioned are ones that she holds.
Wow.
She holds 12 records: the 100, the 200, the 400, the 800, the mile, the 4 hurdles, the high jump, the long jump, the triple jump, the pole vault, the discus, and the javelin.
There you go.
The
discus and the javelin. Is she a heptathlete?
I'm not sure. She should be.
That is.
For the record, the Mornington Chasers club record for the 10,000 is 36:24, so that's a time for her to aim at to increase that number to 13 club records.
That is incredible versatility.
I'm already a huge fan of Mornington Chasers. On their website, they do list an official club record for the beer mile, so we always appreciate that.
Here just crossed the line there is John Gilchrist. He's also running for Kent AC. It looks like it's different singlet to what the Kent AC one is James is coming through and starting to lap some of the
James
some of the runners
still
now.
Moving really well, and it's almost good to have these groups. He's not quite running by himself anymore. He's focusing on each lapped athlete and working up to them, moving past and then moving on to the next group. Really strong running from James, still up at the front.
Working together here, just going through about 40 metres through the lap is Lydia Thompson, and she's also from Mornington Chasers, and she's working together there with Sophie Allen, who's from Victoria Park and Tower Hamlets.
Nathan Bowe still taking the group through. Not sure how long he will be taking them through, but I'm sure that group will be wanting every single lap will count.
'37, Andre Dahlkamp, also from Victoria Park and Tower Hamlets. They've got a good presence in this race.
They do. They really do.
VPTH. There's a good, at least sort of, I think 5 or 6 on the start list. Nice to see.
It's John Gilchrist now at the front of that second group that was previously led by Lauren Longhurst, and they do have 7 of them even, still working on there, working together in the heat.
It's a grinding race. 25 laps normally at the best of times. It'd be nice to see, I think, as people are finishing work and wrapping up their week, the crowd will build throughout the evening. But yeah, nice to see. So I think some coaches and friends and relatives down already on the track.
Yeah, these guys will be looking for as much support as possible, and the spectators can go right into lane 3 in this home straight and the back straight as well to cheer on the athletes.
The back of that front group there wearing the red vest is Paul Wood-Mancy, and he's from the East London runners, and that is a great spot to be actually, just tucked in there.
Yeah.
And you'd hope when Nathan when Nathan pulls out that between the three of them they can rotate and just keep that train moving along.
Definitely, I think those three right now will just be sitting in there trying not to think about how far it's gone, how far left, and just looking at the back of that bright orange pacemaker's vest.
Adam Lennox from Highgate again just crossed through, and chasing them from the front of that group is Lauren Longhurst, who's leading that second chase group. It's just swallowed up John Gilchrist in that last 400.
Just behind Lauren in that group is Joanna Colley from Cambridge and Coleridge, and there is a team prize this evening. First, the three cumulative time from the same club do win a prize. It's a mixed team, so there must be one woman in the team at least. Last year it was won by Cambridge and Coleridge. They had an incredibly strong team: Jack Gray, Jonathan Escalante Phillips, and Hannah Irwin. Jack Gray and Jonathan Escalante Phillips both entered for this evening. Hannah Irwin will not be here. She finished second last year. She's not on the start list this year. And not to pile the pressure on Joanna Colley in this race, but she is the only other Cambridge and Coleridge female athlete entered. So the defending champions will be looking for a strong run from Joanna here. She's got 39.41 road PB. Hopefully that'll be enough for them, but we'll have to wait and see.
So yeah, it's always difficult as a club, isn't it? I think you see this in road relays that you only need a couple more to turn up or a couple to miss out, and it really changes the shape and the structure of your team.
Definitely.
Still ticking through. We're just working to try and get you some splits as we see that second chase group come back through. It's starting to break up a bit. As Niels Christian Liborg from the Ealing Eagles comes through.
We've got a few from the Eagles in this race, just in the back of the pack as well.
So Kieran Page here, 1, 2, 3, has gone through in about an 86 lap, which puts him on just around about 36 minutes. And then really similar pace there, led by Nathan, who's ticking along these laps really well actually. So yeah, they're sitting around about 36-minute pace. And James McKibben is coming around. He's about to lap the pacemaker. Mike, you can't help but feel if James keeps this up that he might be deserving of a quicker heat.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal run so far, and I just hope he keeps working up, keeps pushing on to the next lap athlete, because he's running brilliantly at the minute.
.37 Andre Dalkamp from Victoria Park Tower Hamlets. He is running a fairly lonely race, I would say. I don't think he's got anyone within plus or minus.
No, I think the largest gaps in the field.
That is, not often you see that in a 10k, but some people actually don't mind running by themselves. They do a fair bit in training, solo. They can just get into a rhythm, not be pulled along at too quick a pace. This second group there was about a 1:41, 1:42 they've gone in. So they're looking at about 41, 42 minute pace as well. As Kieran Page comes back through and is gone a little bit under 3 minutes for the last 800. So he's slowed up a touch. And then about a 2:55 there for Nathan, leading that group of three runners behind him.
But James McKibben now got his eyes on that pace group. They're the next group of athletes up the road for him.
He's got a nice stride, James. He's sitting on his toes. He's actually, he's moving well. Paul Woodmansey, he's got an interesting decision to make here. He's falling just off the back of that pace group. It's tough because you want to stick on and you want to have someone tow you around, but also if we're in the front half of the race, so
it's still a long shift.
It's a long way to go.
You can see the athletes on the back straight where the water station's set up. They're already moving out and grabbing a glass, pouring it over their heads. It's that sort of day.
How do you go personally with the water station? Are you one to Do you drink it? Do you throw it over yourself? What do you...
Oh, straight over my head.
Yeah.
Straight over my head. I think we have a dropout on the back straight as well, and I can't quite see who it is because they've taken their vest off. But this is really tough conditions for running 10,000s. All these guys are putting in a great shift so far.
This is where it starts to really bite. I think you've lost the adrenaline of this first couple of K, and you're not past halfway yet.
So Lauren Brimlode's still doing a really good job of hanging on to Charlie McCarthy there, right behind the pacemaker. It's a little 1 or 2 metre gap, but she keeps closing it again. And that's exactly what she needs to do, just hang on to the back of that group. As now Charlie McCarthy has a little 1 or 2 metre gap up to the pacemaker, so he's going to have to start working hard if he wants to hang in with that pace.
This is his track debut, Charlie McCarthy.
What a way to do it.
Yeah, what a way to do it. He has a 10k PB of 36.27 and he's just been outside of that this year. So yeah, he's second off his PB. It's interesting as a runner when you come that close to your PB. If you're running that close, then it's nice to run close to your PB, but yeah, second off you can't help but feel a bit.
Absolutely. And we've had our first comment in the YouTube stream. Fiona Cobb, come on Vicky Park. Well, there you go, you've got plenty to support in this race. Great representation by Vicky Park here. You can comment in the YouTube comments, give a shout out to any athletes you're cheering for.
I was going to say before, it's really difficult to resist the temptation to yell out, come on, to stay on the pace. Just grab a split here for James. He's done the last 400 in 1:25, so he's still moving pretty well. So that puts him around 36 minute pace. Ran a 4:18 at the Loughborough International 1500 metres. So running a bit shorter on the track. '92, Janine Macaronidis from Mornington Chasers. She is about 60-70 metres into this next lap. So it's tough working back into that back straight.
Yeah, the wind is picking up a little bit.
It's very drawn out, isn't it? Spread out, quite an even split in places, few clumped groups. Nathan Bowe's doing a great job of this pacing.
Yeah, he's still taking along, and there's quite a few lapped athletes around the pacemaker. You can see James McKibben now lapping the pacemaker himself and coming right through, still looking strong.
He's gone through another 1:25, so he's holding that pace fairly consistently back to back. He's gone around, I think that was Charlie McCarthy there from the best group. So Charlie McCarthy's fallen off, and I think that sitting just behind is the pacer is Lara Brimlow. So she's gone with it, tucked in there nicely from Marshall Milton Keynes, wearing that orange and dark vest at the top.
Yeah, I said a couple laps ago that I thought she might have been dropping a little bit off Charlie McCarthy at best, but actually she's right up with pacemaker, and Charlie is dropped a little bit back. So fantastic running there from Lara.
Charlie's got the right idea. He's just grabbed that cup of water and thrown it over himself. He's got the water station set up probably at about 180, 170.
Another comment from Dan Mapp. James is a class athlete and improving all the time. I think we can see from what we've in front of himself, that's definitely true. He's having a fantastic run to start with.
Yeah, I think everything we've seen so far is absolutely class. It takes a lot of courage, I think, to come out and just run as he's done as well. So really, really nice to see. It's come through. Nathan's come through pacing, and that is Lara Brimley, who's sitting tucked in behind him. It's looking harder for a lot of these athletes, but tell you who's still looking nice is Julian Lepetra. He's not terribly difficult to pick. He's wearing a hat and got the white vest with the sash over his shoulder, and he's also running in the cohort of Vicky Park runners too. We're getting a bit of Sweet Caroline in the background. I'm not sure if you want to hear Sweet Caroline as you're running through 3.5, 4K of a 10K. But
I always want to hear Sweet Caroline. Yeah. Always.
It is nice. It's a nice tune. Really difficult to hear music actually when you're racing, isn't it?
This is true. You can be too focused on what's going on in front of you, too much in the pain cave. So I think this is James coming up to the 6K mark now. 10 laps remaining, so still a big shift in front of him, but he's still moving it well. Head's rocking a bit, but we've seen that for the last couple of laps, and he's still going strong.
We've spoken a few times about Lara Brimlow from Marshall Milton Keynes. She ran a PB at Highgate this year. Yeah, 37.33. And just touch off about 80 seconds off her road PB, which she ran at Brighton in 2019. Nice course along the seaside of Brighton.
Definitely, yeah. We've got quite a few athletes that are turning around fairly quickly from Highgate and having another crack at the 10,000. I don't know whether they're hoping for cooler conditions tonight and have not been greeted by it, but great to see so many turning out for the 10,000 on the track. It's not run very often. And obviously Highgate has a reputation of being such a huge event, but we've got a great turnout tonight, and I'm really impressed by some of the races we've got lined up.
So James had 10 to go when he came around previously. He's now at about 3:20, I think, and he's a lap ahead of Kieran Page. So I think Kieran's got 10 to go now as well, as James is staring down the barrel of 9 left.
Another shout out for James on the chat from Brian Holland.
Geez, Nathan is putting in a fair shift here.
He really is, and I'm sure Lara will appreciate that. She is just tucked in behind him, moving really well. And we'll be hoping he just keeps it going for another few laps at least would be ideal.
He's probably got a bit under 10 left now as well. I think he's a lap behind James. Difficult with so many athletes to keep a track of the laps.
Yeah, one name I don't think we mentioned is Abdullahi Mohammed, another Victoria Park athlete. This is his track debut, I think. Got a road PB of 35.41. That was from the Leeds 10K back in 2014. But he does have form this year as well, 36.08 at Vitality, 10,000 metres through London. Quite a few athletes here tonight ran that one as well.
There's 1:14 gone through about 50 metres the next lap. That is Joanna Colley. As Mike said earlier, flying the flag for Cambridge and Coleridge.
I hope her Cambridge and Coleridge teammates are here cheering her on.
It's so important, isn't it, to get that from people you train with, people, relatives.
Absolutely.
Anywhere on the track. It really just is, when you're hurting, it really is so useful. James coming through. I reckon he's got 8 left now, so I think he's got 3K to go when he gets around to the 200 marker. So it's about 7.5 laps he's got left. So yeah, less than a third of the race to go.
Yeah, just moving past Adam Lennox of Highgate. think this is his track debut as well. We've got 5k times for him, 17:46 PB and 17:56 PB, but nothing on the track over 10,000. So he's digging in well at the minute for that longer distance. I'm sure he'll find those extra 12.5 laps he's got to put on top of the 5k. Probably the toughest 12.5 laps he's run for a while. Said it at the top of the stream, but it's worth repeating. If anyone is close to the Walthamstow area, I'd highly recommend you get down. There's still plenty of racing this evening. We'll be going right through to the last race starting at 9:15. So if you're interested in an evening of high quality athletics, we've got food and drinks. Come on down to the track at Walthamstow.
So this is James, he's got 7 left now.
Unfortunately, that's Niels Christian Leiborg that's had to drop out in front of us.
Lara's got 8 laps to go, I reckon now. Nathan's giving her a fair shake. I don't know if he was lucky or unlucky, Niels Christian from Ealing Eagles. I reckon there's a few that have pulled out who aren't sort of sitting in front of us. But I think you can be excused from pulling out if you've had a good crack for
absolutely
50 or so laps. Absolutely no shame in that.
Got a little Kent AC battle going on in that book. There's Julian Geevers and John Gilchrist from Kent both having a go, and unfortunately that was Lauren Longhurst just walking past us. There's not going to be another Mornington Chasers club record for her this evening. She's also called it a day.
I think it'd be worth having a chat to Lauren. Tommy, do you mind just grabbing her? Yeah, I think. Yeah, we're going to get Lauren back. I want to ask her a bit about the club record she holds. She's got quite some incredible versatility. So
we will be trying to bring some interviews from the athletes during the night, race winners, good performances, anything like that. Just get a feel of how the races are going out there.
Lauren, sorry to grab you after you just went. How was it out there? Yeah.
Very hot. As you can tell, I'm quite pale and I don't particularly respond well to the heat. So, just a bit too much for today, I think.
10Ks are tough at the best of times.
Either, so.
That was your first one.
Yeah.
We were looking before the race. You hold quite a range of club records. There's a bit of high jump in there as well, long jump. Yeah.
I started as a high jumper, long jumper, not very good one, but then 400s and then moved up to the long stuff.
Focusing mostly on the distance now, or do you still dabble in a bit of that as well?
Marathon and marathon mainly now.
Yeah, right. When's your next race?
London Marathon.
Cool. And what are you hoping for?
Hopefully something.
Geez, wow. It's always nice to get under that 3 barrier.
Yes, decided last week, so hopefully to take a few more minutes.
Cool. Good luck for it. Yeah, thanks for coming to say hi.
Thanks very much.
That was Lauren Longhurst from the Mornington Chasers, and as she said, understandably very tough out there in the heat.
Yeah, we still do have a couple of Mornington Chasers out there, so the club's still represented, so hopefully they'll keep going well. And finally, after a huge shift, Nathan Bowes, our pacemaker, has dropped out. He's gone a long way, and now Lara Brimlow's having to face the last of the race by herself. But she is still moving well, and we hope she can keep it up all the way to the finish.
Yeah, and I don't know if Nathan was adjusting his pace at all, but I think it is really sort of wise and smart running from Lara just to tuck in and work with the pacemaker and to stick with that for as long as she has, and hopefully she can convert over these last few laps. And
absolutely, I think she's now actually looking at unlapping herself from James McKibben, who she's got in her sights just 10-15 metres in front of her. So that'll be an interesting one. An unlapping, you don't see it very often.
Yeah.
Got another comment from the YouTube. Sharon and Maisha supporting James all the way. He's running very well so far and looking good for a great performance in the conditions.
James has quite a fan club. He
really does, yeah. A lot of support for James this evening.
I can see why he has a fan club the way he's running.
Exactly.
As
exciting,
well. Yeah.
exciting running.
Yeah, we saw before in the Navy vest 59 and 57, Julian Jeevers and John Gilchrist there, both from Kent. Maybe they trained together, working really well together in this race. They're around about the 200 mark now.
Yeah, I thought it was a battle between them, but I think they're at the minute still working together, and maybe a little bit further into the race we'll see that friendship turn into more of a rivalry. Speaking of Lara trying to unlap herself, James has found a bit of a second wind. I'm going to put it down to the comments on the live stream that's spurred him on a little bit further, and he's opened up that gap again. Although he's just stopped to grab a glass of water, poured it over his head, and he's off again. Conditions are really starting to catch up with these athletes, and it's very tough out there. That's our other Mornington chaser just going through the start line there. That's Janine Makaronidis. Her PB's 39.54. She's having to do a lot of work by herself at the minute. A few athletes around this corner are in a fairly isolated position. But now Lara's moved past James. James still in the lead, remember. He still is a lap in front. That just shows how well Lara's moving.
So Lara and James there went through in 31.15, and James has got 3 laps to go and Lara has 4. So what are we looking at with 3 laps to go? He's probably running, I think, closer to between 80 and 90 seconds a lap,
I think maybe 4:30 left for James.
And Lara's probably
grabbing more water. It's tough out there.
Probably around that 38 minutes for Lara. I think that's the pace at the moment.
Got some support from Mick Bromlow for Lara. We can say she's still moving really, really well through this field.
57 and 59 as mentioned from Kent, Julian Jeevers and John Gilchrist. Julian's just starting to put a bit of a shift in his captain
starting to pull
slightly.
away, yeah. And that Kent Jewel.
Bit of within intra-club pride there.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And it is actually another Kent athlete, Kieran Page, that's one place down, but I think he's got quite a lot of work to do to catch that pair.
So Lara's got 3 to go now, and she's on 32.45, I believe. James has got 2 to go.
Yeah, he's finding it tough now, but he's still going. He's still ticking over.
He's 23 of 25 through. Charlie McCarthy comes through from Best. 114, Joanna Colley from Cambridge and Coleridge.
I think Charlie's the first Best athlete to compete at a Fast Friday.
They're a nice singlet, the Best singlets, aren't they?
Yeah, I've written on my singlet notes just funky. that was how I could only describe it.
Be interested to see how many athletes we've lost as this race has gone on. I've definitely seen 3, but I suspect there's probably more than that. Probably looking at around 60%, 60 to 70% finishing rate, I think maybe.
I think that's about right, yeah. Another comment from Aisha to cheer on James. He's working hard, he's coming round
So James will have one left when he comes around next time, and Lara Brimelow from Marshall Milton Keynes, she will have 2 to go. Lara's paced this really well, actually.
She's come through the field brilliantly, yeah.
Yeah, she's looking very strong. James 2's holding on, actually. I think when you see someone put that much into the pacer within the first 200 metres, you always get nervous, but he is running a courageous race. This is a huge run. So you might be able to just pick up in the microphone there. James has just got the bell, and Lara will get the bell in about 350 metres. James goes around Abdullahi Muhammad. As we said earlier, he's making his track debut tonight. He's run 35.41 on the road.
We should also mention the prizes for this prestigious event. Can't go far wrong with a Fast Friday mug. And I'm sure however much James is hurting in this last 250 metres, although he's still moving well and picked it up, he'll find solace in a Fast Friday mug.
He will find solace. He's just gone through, he's got 200 left to go, and he's gone through in about 35.10, I reckon. So he's really probably looking at a bit over, round about the 36-minute mark. He could be on for a PB here. He ran 35.53 at Fast Friday last year, as Kieran Page has taken the bell. He's wearing number 123. This is a huge run by him as well.
Yes,
haven't spoken about him as much, but this is a bold run. So Lara grabs the bell
on his own for more. But yes, here comes our winner, James McKibben. A lot of cheering for him in the chat from Maisha and Sharon. Great running.
That was a remarkable run. I think he's just under 36 minutes, probably missed his PB, but geez, tell you what, that was huge. That's an incredible run. Toby, might get you to just grab James when he's ready. Yeah, thanks. Joanna Colley coming through from Cambridge and
still moving really well.
She's got her eye on Adam Lennox from Highgate, who's about 40 metres ahead of her probably. See if she can
still got an excellent
pull him down. Kieran Page has found some pace for second down the home straight. He is putting in a monumental shift. Wow, he had some left as well. Geez, that was a phenomenal run as well. And Lara Brimelow, first female over the line. What a huge run. Incredible from both of them.
What a finish by Julian Lepetra as well. I feel we didn't give Julian enough of a mention either in that race, but he's run fantastically to hold off James there.
Lara's probably gone just around 37 minutes, I think. (141). Chris Schofield from Kent has just finished too. Geez, Lara has really spent herself here. She's
working
laid down on
hard.
We were just admiring the effort you put in. We think this is Charlie McCarthy, who's just got the bell as well.
Yeah, it should be a good finish. He's got Abdullahi Muhammad right behind him.
Lara, when you're ready, we'll grab you if you're. Joanna Colley, 114 coming around again. Julian Jeevers, he's looking really strong.
A strong finish for the. In that little Kent race between Julian and John. It's a strong finish from Julian.
It's really solid running. Paul Wood-Manzi just finished too. He's from East London Runners. So Julian and John were running together for a lot of that race, but I think Julian had a lap ahead of him.
Yeah, you're right. I did not realise that until John carried on at the finish line there. So it was always good to see them competing like that. Going to be able to have a word with Lara Brimlow now.
We've just got Lara here. Thanks for coming to say hi. Yeah, how did you find that?
Oh, it was hot. And we started to drop off the pace. Slow down with us. And he dropped out. Kind of keeping the pace.
Yeah, we were saying on the stream, you did really well to stick and work with him for so long. You got probably close to, I think, 17, 18 laps with him?
Yeah, he dropped out with 7 to go.
And what was the focus when the pacer comes out? What are you telling yourself for the last sort of grind?
Well, so the leader was about 50, 75 metres and didn't seem to be going away. So it was trying to get on the back of him. It was really windy down that back straight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't really work. And I couldn't catch up. And suddenly he was there, and I was like, there's no benefit.
And how's your running going more broadly? You're based in Milton Keynes, or are you just running for the club there? And what's your focus?
So I'm actually based with the Kent.
Okay.
So I know a lot of the guys in this race.
Yeah, there were a few of them. Yeah. Have they been trying to pull you towards Kent, or you Milton Keynes through?
They have, but they seem to be quite happy. They run second claim for them. So I'm PSL for them on Sunday.
Nice. Cool. Last one next race.
Probably the Milton Keynes 5,000.
That's a great event. Yeah, it was warm there last year as well.
Last year, yes. But 5K's okay. 5K's okay. 10K, but it really kicks in.
We've got a comment from your dad. From your dad. Very proud.
Thanks, Dad.
Wonderful running. Congratulations.
Yeah, a bit disappointed with the time.
Was it around 37 or?
37:07. Everyone was yelling at me over there. You can get 36:30. It's a long way.
It is tough. Yeah, you ran a PB. You ran a Highgate though.
At Highgate around
37:03. Yeah.
That was 5 weeks after the Boston Marathon. Certainly wasn't it.
Still in your legs a bit.
Yes, and it was fun.
Yeah. Cool, we'll let you go and recover. Thanks a lot for saying hi, and well done again. That was a great run.
No problem.
James.
Now
join us.
We're going to get a chance to speak to the race winner, James McKibben from North Devon.
That one.
He's a different mic. James, how was that? Very tough out there.
Yes. Yeah.
How did you find it in the heat? Good. So we've seen you in a lot of short races. You did the 1500 earlier.
Yeah.
So how was this compared to 1500? Good.
How hard did you find it? When you went off at a cracking pace, when did it sort of get difficult for you?
Say again.
When did you find it difficult? When was it? Did it get hard? Was it challenging at all?
Yes.
Which lap? Can you remember? Or
25.
25.
That's okay then.
And you enjoy doing park runs as well?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your best time on park run?
16:55.
Wow. You've done it.
Brilliant.
You've done it many times.
Good. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
Is there anyone you want to say hello to that might be watching? Or?
Hello, mummy.
Yeah, we had a lot of comments on the stream cheering you on.
Yes.
So they're all very proud of you. That was a fantastic effort.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yes. Thank you.
See you later. Great run.
Great effort.
No worries. It was James McKibben, our race winner, and we spoke earlier with Lara Brimlow, who was first female across the line. I think we're there, are we? With
Yeah, I think we're already lining up for race 2. There's no not much hanging about here.
race 2. What are we looking at here with timings, Mike? Do you think?
It's a wonderful question, Tim, and I'm gonna tell you once I find my sheet of paper that tells me.
Oh, you must be Tim.
32 to 36 minute range
Nice to meet you.
for these
Thank you very, very
PBs.
much for this.
No stress.
Again, we've got a pacemaker.
Thanks for pointing out. I love
Will Bowron
I love running in it.
ran the 5,000 at Bucks this year
I think, well,
from
yeah.
St Albans
I
and
feel like
Nottingham
nothing.
University.
I can always remember at the end it gets quite lively. It's a bit quiet now, but maybe it'll. This race is like a big one. Isn't it? That first race is always a bit. It really spreads out a bit, and this will be a bit. Just a bit more. Lap, so 14:35.
These two on the screen.
On the interview a bit later, I reckon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
We've
sure.
got
So D-Land's
a
here.
range of athletes again. Another excellent representation by Vicky Park.
Yeah, we're kind of grabbing people.
George Clancy, Stephen Fabes, Dominic Baxter, Nat Rowland, all Vicky Park athletes in this one. Looking at PBs between 32 and 36 minutes.
I did, yeah, we've got to get that point.
Toby, you got the link?
As well as that, we've got Daniel Hunt from Southampton, Craig Halsey from Brighton.
Okay, he'll have the link. You can put it on the screen. And then, then they can add to the prize pot. And then
Carrying on there, Niall Gilchrist from Ealing, Zach Nill, Vicky Park, Courtney Chessel from Swindon Harriers, Tom Waters from Cardiff, Paul Norfolk, another Vicky Park man, Donal Moran from Mornington Chasers, Zach Jeps from Winchester, Rob Kelly, Belgrave, Stephen Fabes, Vicky Park, Tommy Trees, Belgrave, George Morris, AFD. Athletes wandering up to the start line now. Couple minutes before they get going. Michael O'Sullivan, he's in this race as well. Harrow AC, Liam O'Driscoll, New Monastic Beagles, Dominic Baxter, Vicky Park, Finn Johnson, Hercules Wimbledon. Andy Elks from Candy Racing. Prash Andy Silva from Leeds, Gary Pelosi from Barnet District, Nat Rowland from Vicky Park, Rob Elmore, Leighton Buzzard, Andrews Chow from Highgate, Nicholas Besson, Serpentine, Matt Hibbard, Southampton, James Sadler, that is, from Peterborough, Neen Valley, and Conal McNally from Belgrave. Got all the athletes on the start line now, so we'll be looking to get underway within a minute, I reckon. Tim Underhill said props to all the runners racing, giving it 25 lap thrash in serious heat. Yeah, it is still hot. The sun is starting to go down a little bit, but it is still a very warm evening tonight. We've got some information on the pacemakers as well. So in this race, we'll be going through Will Bowron in about 16:30, so looking for a 33-minute finish.
Just waiting for a start. Some similar vests here as well. Seeing a couple of Highgate, and I think we had Julian LePetre ran really well in that last race from the VP, TH, Vicky Park, Tower Hamlets.
Yeah, I was just saying we've got even more representation to the in this one as well.
It always is always nice seeing the vests on the start line. 66 Craig Halsey and the Brighton and Hove. That's a great red.
Yeah, so everyone representing the clubs here. And that's us underway in race 2.
Pacer Will Bowen. Handy 5k at Bucks.
Very handy, yeah. I think see him go to the front, is he? Or have we got another? Can't quite make out who that is that's gone to the front, whether it's the pacemaker or not.
Might be Liam O'Driscoll. I think we're seeing the yellow vest with the black top. Looks like a Newham singlet. But we'll find out. Another big field. Good to see people turn out. Looks like.
Yeah, such big fields. I don't think I'll be able to keep reading out all the start lists. I've only got so many words in me this evening.
So it is always brave running, I think, in these conditions when you see people. It worked out well for James last race. Managed to hold on and run really strong. So that is 1:16. It is Liam O'Driscoll. He is leading there ahead of Courtney Chessel, who is from the Swindon Harriers.
Pacemaker was bang on there. We're looking for roughly 69-second lap, so that was bang on from a pacemaker.
79.
Sorry, 79, of course. 69 would be very impressive.
So great races held together a bit more, I think, than the previous race. I think it's nice to see the big train going, but I think equally too in the first race, if you know you're not running a pace at the start that's comfortable for you, then it just is best to fall off. But things are spread nicely, I think, at the 600 metre mark. Come around through. That gap to the paces is still increasing through 700 metres. They've got 30 to 40 metres on Will there. Is it Nottingham University? Good on him for coming out and pacing.
Yeah,
this evening.
It's a bit of a thankless task not getting to finish, but putting in a big shift through 5 or more as we saw in the last race.
Liam Driscoll there through in 2:32, and Pacer Will's gone through 800 in 2:40. So hitting that 80-second laps as we see gap starting to open up there.
So right in behind the pacemaker, we've got Dominic Baxter of Vicky Park, and just behind him we've got Finn Johnson of Hercules Wimbledon. Finn's actually got the quickest PB in the field, 31:55 from 2018. Very quick. He's got a 34:50 from Highgate this year, so maybe not quite in that type of form, but he'll be looking to get down closer to that PB. I'm also going to make the claim, I think Finn has the most formal looking power of 10 picture of any athlete I've ever seen. I wasn't sure whether I was on his power of 10 or his LinkedIn.
Jeez. It's a difficult decision, isn't it, deciding what picture to put? Do you have a picture on your power of 10?
I don't know.
You don't have a picture on your power of 10? Is that an intentional decision, or just haven't sort of got round to it? Or
I don't think there's any good running photos of me, so I'm going to keep it that way.
So this gap's opening up. Liam Driscoll has gone through in 3:50 and is pulling away from Courtney Chessel there. So this is brave running. Gone through in just under 4 minutes. And that'll take us to 1200 there.
Just answering a comment in the live stream, we will try and get those results as soon as possible to read them out. They will be available on Open Track once they're complete. So as soon as that's updated, we'll try and bring them to the live stream as well.
And that pack there, so as we said, we've got Liam and Courtney there who are 1-2, and we've got the pacer, and the pack is just split there on Andreas Chow. He's running from Highgate. So it could be sensible running from him. If you're not there and you're not feeling on the pace, then yeah, it is good to not go with it particularly early in a 10K. But geez, that gap is still growing to first. This is some bold running from Liam. As we said earlier, though, it paid off in the first race with James. Was able to hold it together well.
But it looked tough in those last few laps.
It did look tough. As we said, like James earlier in the race before, Liam's is moving well here. He's in a nice rhythm. I think Courtney here is going to be swallowed up by a pacer potentially in the next lap.
Yeah, that's them through the mile now. Cap's come off from Dominic Baxter. I'm not sure whether that's a sign of anything. Whether he's ready to kick on past the pacemaker, maybe a bit early for that.
So at the back of that front group there, you'll see also a distinctive looking singlet. It's the red with the blue sash sort of over the stomach. That's Gary Pelosi, and he's from Barnet and District. He is in number 125. So we see 69 Matt Hibbard here, who's running for Southampton. He's got the full white vest on. Just ticks through the mile. I'm going to get a 2K split here shortly. Yeah, we've definitely seen this race break up in, there's probably 2, maybe even 3 now distinctive groups. Probably 9, 10 in that second group. And Will, has sort of caught up, and Courtney hopefully will be able, after setting an early pace with Liam, be able to hold on to that group.
Yeah.
Gone through 2K there in 6:30. So number 106 also running there with Andreas Chow is George Morris, and he has the white, red and green on from AFD.
We've got quite a nice second group forming a little bit further back down the track. There was Zach Nill and Michael Sullivan leading that group of about 7-8 runners. They're looking to stick together at least for a few more laps, try and work with each other.
Coming through, don't be fooled down the 300 metre mark. I thought that was a mister originally. I think we got a few nice scents from the food van.
Yeah,
there. Nice whiffs reminding people of what's coming later. It's a nice group, front group ticking along well. Also in group number 19, Nicholas Besson, who's running for Serpentine.
I was going to pick out the Belgrave athlete as well. He's tucked in there, number 80. That's Rob Kelly. Very sensible running so far. Just no need to show your face at the front of the group yet.
How do you like to run these things? I know some people aren't too fussed about whether they're in a group, they kind of have their pace and they stick on it. Are you sort of happy you want to stick in your rhythm, or are you big preference for a group?
Always in the group. Keep your face out of the wind for as long as possible. Find the rail. That's what I think. What about you, Tim? You're a rhythm man.
Yeah, I definitely. It's always difficult, isn't it? It's. I don't want to hedge both ways. I actually probably more of a rhythm person, I think. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. So I'm a little bit disappointed because I had on my start list number 51, Stephen Fabes from Victoria Park, and I've not seen him go through. So I think he might have been a non-starter, and I wonder whether it's because last week I had a little look, and he was over in Wales doing the man versus horse race, 20.5 miles.
That's incredible.
Men versus horses, which this year won by man. Ricky Lightfoot, a bit of a legend in the trail running ultra community, beat the horses. So it was a bit of a turn up for the books.
And when was the last time it was won by a man before that?
Tim, you're asking me for these stats that I don't have.
Jeez. Yeah.
But I don't think
incredible.
it's a very regular occurrence, but what an event.
So we've just had posted in the chat here the link to the Fast Friday GoFundMe. So one of the great things about the Fast Friday event is that we crowdfund the prizes, 2 prizes, both for the women's fastest run of the evening and also for the men's fastest run of the evening. And the pool is created both from the profits from the bar, but also from donations through the GoFundMe. So if you want to put some money towards the event and towards those prize pools, then the link is in the chat. So coming through for 8 laps here, we're a little bit over 3k now. Still looking nice at the front of that group. Will Bowman tucked in behind Finn Johnson from Hercules Wimbledon.
But Liam O'Driscoll's now been swallowed up by the pack, but he's working fine in behind Finn Johnson now, so he'll just be looking to hang in there and keep it ticking over. Those 4 of them now pulling away from the second half of the group, moving well.
That group, definitely starting to split as well there, and actually pushing up now in the middle of that second chase now group. He's decided he wants to stick on it. That's Rob Elmore, number 24. He has got the purple vest. He's had a crack, but actually now he's going to sit, I think, at the front of that second group.
I'm going to give a shout out to Tom Waters as well, number 157 at the back. He's running his own race, but he's looking very consistent from the gun, and I think he's just got a time in mind and he's going to stick to his plan. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardiff man picks off a few in front of him as the race goes on.
So I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword here. I think over the last sort of 45 minutes, hour or so, it's definitely dropped a couple of degrees, but that breeze I think's probably picked up slightly. To come through here for lap 9. We'll get the 4k mark when the runners come back around, but Courtney Chessel, as we said earlier, went out hard with Liam Driscoll and has been able to, unfortunately, attach himself to that group there. So just slipping off the pace now, but if he can stick with that, then hopefully be able to get towed along for a few more laps.
Yeah, so we've got Finn Johnson in the lead, well, behind the pacemaker, but leading the race. And I don't think he's let that pacemaker get more than 2 or 3 meters away from him this entire race so far. And just in behind him, we've got Nicholas Besson from Serpentine. There you go, Tim. Bit of trivia from the chat. Tim Underhill. Hugh Lobb was the first man to beat the horses in around 2004.
That's incredible. 18 years, minus maybe 1, potentially 2 for COVID, but that is a phenomenal effort. It's a marathon, I think, isn't it? Is it distance?
I saw on Stephen's Strava 20.5 miles, so not
20.5.
Not a shabby effort.
Okay, we've got a split there for 4k. We've gone through in about 13:10 to 13:15, I think. That is through 4k. So what's that? We're looking at still on that 3:15 pace. Maybe a touch over. Probably closer to 3:20. So looking at 33:20, I think.
I think it's quite a tough job for the pacemakers this evening. They've obviously been told a pace to run at, but there's also an element of using their own judgment under the conditions that if they hit these paces, often just no one will go with it. So I think it's a bit of judgment, but I think Will's doing an excellent job so far in just sitting at the front, setting a nice pace for these 2 athletes that are still with him. We're going through really well.
157 from Cardiff, Tom Waters there. He has the blue vest with the bright orange shorts from Cardiff. He's got a PB of 35.15, I believe. It's also run this season. It is always a difficult balance to know, isn't it, as a pacer? You want to sort of tow people along and take people with you, but you don't want to be running sort of 15, 20 metres ahead of...
No, exactly.
Ahead of everyone else.
But Nicholas is now within a couple metres of him. Finn dropped back a little bit, but he'll still have his eyes on up the road and trying to push on to them.
We said earlier Rob Elmore, who was in danger of getting stuck in that second group and put in a shift a couple of laps ago to push up. He's sitting in third there. It's from Leighton Buzzard. It's gone through 11 laps now. It's 138 Nat Rowland from the VPTH Empire, who's down here this evening. Great to see he is putting in a fair shift the front of a group there. Leading our AFD runner George Morris in 106. What's preparation like for an event like this? Do you think it changes in how these athletes go about it, knowing it's going to be warmer even before they get here? Or?
I think absolutely. I think so far this week's probably less thinking about the training and the training diary and more refreshing the weather, hoping it somehow magically changes. It's not, it's still hot, but you know, I think this it'll definitely affect the preparation on the day. Sticking in the shade as much as possible, staying cool, shortening the warm up a tad. Don't need to overdo the warm up.
What do most of these runners do as a warm up? You think probably what 3-4k ish before?
Absolute max, I would say.
Absolute max.
Wouldn't catch me running 4k before a 10k in this heat, but true.
Just 800 metres, you reckon? So we're going to get our 5k split now, and we're sitting probably around 16:35-ish, I think. So touch over 33-minute pace.
Touch over.
Friends or family teammates running in the first race. The results should now be up on Open Track if you want to have a look at them. Possibly cooler, I think, than what it was when we started half an hour ago.
Yeah, we've just ticked over the 30-minute mark, and it's still hot. The sun has gone down a little bit. It's not as direct heat, but still very muggy and tough conditions for these guys.
So Craig Halsey, we believe, is our race leader from Brighton and Hove. We think he's got about 500 metres left. So if our calculations are correct, he'll get the bell. Just saying earlier, he moves nicely, doesn't he? He sort of looks in a good rhythm. Arms are more than an hour ago. Nice group there, sitting over around about the 200 mark.
Tommy Tree's currently running with an entire water bottle in his hand. It's that sort of evening. Periodically tossing it over himself.
That's the right idea, I think.
I think so. Just that trade-off of having to carry the water and
so Paul's going to grab the bell here. He's got 450 left. Craig, sorry. He's going to grab the bell. If you missed, we said earlier, he's got a PB of 32-34. So he's got 400 left and he's gone through a touch over that time. So difficult night to run PBs.
absolutely.
You ran a 2:36 at Boston Marathon as well.
Not the easiest course there either. So, I think that's Tommy Trees taking the bell there as well. Finn Johnson behind him.
It's Hercules Wimbledon athlete.
Really committed to the colour. with the red shorts and the pulled up yellow socks, representing Hercules Wimbledon. He's a staple down at the Wimbledon Open meets, so no surprise to see him out in full coloured kit.
The other one.
So Craig Halsey is coming in now to the home straight. He has run a really solid, strong race. As we said earlier, went out really sensibly.
Yeah.
Really sensibly, but has held on, run so much by himself, and he is just going to dip under the 34-minute mark. That is some serious running. Fantastic race. There's a lot of runners through, grabbing the bell now. There's a kick on. Tommy Trees is racing Rob Elmore for 2 and 3.
Right out into lane 4.
Tommy Trees
gets
just
it. What
takes
a
it.
finish. What a finish. Come right out to our desk.
And they're just over 34.15. So Craig Halsey first. We think Tommy Trees is second and Rob Elmore's in third. It was quite a last 100 metres.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good last lap there from Rob Kelly, the Belgrave athlete. Overtook Finn Johnson for 4th position, and Finn comes in 5th. Great running from everyone at the sharp end of that race.
Yeah, no, just you're good to hold it now. I know you.
So 1:38 Nat roll and just come across to track debut, we believe.
They've got to do their job though.
To run at Battersea a few times and also done the Boston Marathon.
The only thing we can do is raise it up, but it's all right.
And 30 Andreas Chow around just over 35 minutes.
Sharon House. Thank you.
Good run.
Right. You turn the Valley Harry.
Tim!
That's the one.
And then we'll get someone into.
Yeah. Can you grab Craig? 66.
Yeah, we'll just try and grab our race winner there, Craig Halsey. Cheers. Find out how he felt that race went. Once he's finished his winner's photo shoot at the end.
1:15 if you're following Paul Norfolk, just gone up just under 36 minutes.
That's right, mate. Don't worry.
And Liam Driscoll is
Long-time leader Liam Driscoll at the start. He really pushed on. He crosses in just under 36.10.
Craig. Nice run.
Yeah, it was alright.
How did you find that?
Well, it was alright actually. It wasn't too bad. I started off really easy and then just kind of picked it up each lap. Got to halfway and just kind of reset myself and went again. And yeah, it worked out really well because I started picking up the front runners as well. And you know, the guys that were in front to start with obviously gone off a little bit too hard. Yeah, and then just picked them off and just run it in. I was getting my splits over on the far side anyway. So like someone was telling me I had 50 metres and then 60. So yeah, and then just carried on going.
It's funny you're saying that. We were saying it can become really difficult at the end to know what to focus on. Were you just picking people in front and going for the next
I'll tell you what it was,
or?
right, because the wind is down the back straight, I kind of split it up into 200s.
Yeah.
So on the home straight, I was picking it up, and on the back straight, just kind of settling in and just trying to relax against the wind, and it just kind of worked. And then obviously mentally you're breaking it down as well. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked out all right. It worked out good.
Got 25.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people to kind of catch all the time. So yeah, it's good. It was a good race.
And you've run sort of mid-32s coming in. What was your aim? Yeah, how do you think about?
To be honest, today with the heat, there wasn't really an expectation. It was almost just to make sure I didn't get sucked into a fast start and just run my own race and then just pick people off. And exactly how I imagined it.
You did that beautifully.
Yeah. And then I saw the leader pull off, and I was like, do you know what? Just stay relaxed. Don't panic now. And tried to pick it up, and I just kind of stayed in my pace and stayed in my zone, and yeah, it was good.
Were you aware of how far? I think you had a couple hundred metres, but were you aware of how far?
Only up until about 3 laps to go, and one of my teammates over the other side just shouted, "You've got 80 metres," and then yeah, I knew obviously in the last K they've got to run pretty special to go past me, so I just kind of just carried on churning it out. Yeah,
just enjoying it.
Yeah, just enjoy it last little bit and listen to the cheers and come in. Yeah. It's good.
What have you got lined up next? What's next for you?
So the Sussex County 3000 champs next Wednesday.
Dropping down a bit in distance there.
That's the senior race as well. I'm a vet V40, so I just get in there, mix it up with the young lads, you know, see what happens.
Brilliant.
But yeah, it's good. And then from there, I'll probably transition to half marathon training for Antrim in Ireland. So try and break that 70 minutes, for the first time. So yeah,
It's a good race, Antrim.
Yeah, I've heard lots of good things. So we'll see what happens. Get back into the sort of distance training and see how it pans out. 11 weeks, I think, this weekend, and yeah.
You've got it mapped out.
Yeah, exactly. You got it, around the family commitments and stuff like that as well. So it's all good.
If you run anything, there like you did tonight, I think you'll be on for a good, sensible, consistent run.
In the heat as well, it's all good. So yeah, positive things to come out tonight. So yeah, travelling quite far up as well. So it's always nice to put a little positive spin on it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, it was good, well organised race. And
great event.
Yeah, great event. First time doing it. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
For coming and having
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for that.
Thanks very much.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
Great run.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Quicker than race 4. Race 4 is the women's championship race where we've got men around a similar time to what we think the women will run in that race. So it's better for support and give them some people to run at a similar pace with. So
Yeah, you'll be able to see the start list for race 3 up on your screen now, along with the PBs that we have for these athletes.
looking at around PBs of 31, 32, as Craig was saying before, it is cooling slightly, but it's difficult to aim to run around that time. So I think potentially a 32, mid 32 win might be on the cards. I think we're looking at pacing around 15:30ish, maybe a touch slower than that.
Yeah, we've got Rebel pacing this one from Highgate. He'll be wearing the SOAR vest, starting right on the outside. 6th year pacing at Fast Friday, so he knows what he's doing.
So we've just got to start on race 3. As we said earlier, we'll probably think it's going to go out around 31, touch over 31 pace. As Mike was saying, yeah, Rebel's doing the pacing. He was also part of the Highgate Harrier 12-stage relays team.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go to a relays without Highgate having a incredible depth, and he's just one of a few Highgate athletes we'll see that were part of that team.
Doesn't surprise me. We've seen some good runs from Highgate athletes early this evening. We've got a couple in this race too. We've got Chris Hicks is running from Highgate, and Sean Renfer as well in the Highgate black and white. So as we're seeing these races progress this evening, the first lap's bunched tighter and tighter, and it's taking longer and longer for it to split out.
Doesn't look like anyone in this race fancies taking it on in front of the pacemaker like we saw in the first two. Everyone quite happy to sit in behind Rebel at the start here.
1, 2, 4, John Payne from the Vicky Park crew sitting nicely there in second, and Alex Miel Ingram as well from Radley. He's got the distinctive purple vest, the tall figure of Alex.
Yeah, very easy to spot that Radley purple vest.
Just saying, very easy to see the Highgate vest running there together, just where that group looks like it's starting to split.
Yeah, it looks like Sean Renfer is kind of in the middle of those two groups, so I think he's got a decision to make, and I think he's going to try and make sure he sticks on the back of that front group, although it does now look like the FD athlete is pulling back, so we're all still together as one. Do you know how Sean Renfrew prepared for this one?
How did he prepare, Mark?
He was down at the Dulwich Park run last weekend. Second position.
Jeez. Dulwich Park. It's a quick course, Dulwich
Quick
Park.
course. Who else was at Dulwich Park on last weekend?
I was at Watford last weekend, so the weekend before I was
Weekend
at Dulwich
before.
Park run.
2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's really
there you
good.
go.
I actually love it. I was saying earlier that it's so nice preparing for these races and looking what people have done and seeing so many park runs. It just is, yeah, really, really cool part of the running scene. Come through here, we'll get an 800 metre split and we're just over 230, so looking at around about 77-ish. There's Joe Morrow in 108s wearing the Oxford University vest, it's the navy.
Yeah, we're at Fintan Kavanagh as well. After saying the Radley purple vest was easy to point out, I noticed that there is another purple vest of the University of Loughborough athlete. Although having watched enough Buck streams, I don't know if you're allowed to call it purple. It's always got to be referred to as African violet.
African violet.
Yeah,
It is a distinctive purple, isn't
it's
it?
a distinctive purple.
So handy runners have come from Loughborough.
Absolutely.
And right on the back of that group, not terribly difficult to pick. They're in the bright orange from Bexley and also from Woking as well. 60 Ben Goddard and 166 Thomas Wright.
It's only a couple of weeks since Ben Goddard raced the North Downs Way race, which is a 50 miler. 7 hours 35 for fourth place, so it should feel like a breeze for Ben.
That is a long time.
It's a long time on the feet.
So 3 laps through, went through a little bit over 350 there. See some interesting pacing here. Rebel sitting in lane 2. Joe Morrow looked like he was almost going to take it on and tell him to get shifting, but he's settled back down now. Joe is sitting back there and just tucked behind Rebel. The train's still rolling out. You might not be able to pick it on the stream, but coming down that back straight is definitely more difficult. The trees are bent slightly and wasn't uncommon in the last few races to see runners lean forward slightly to try and get through that breeze. So speaking about Sean Renfrew, he's run a 32 flat in Battersea Park. I think that was his PB in September 2020, one of the few races that happened during COVID. He's also run a 14:44 in Battersea over 5K. He's come through 4 laps now, about 5:05.
This train working really well together. They're spread out, but there's no real gaps in that train. Everyone's got someone in front of them to work forward to.
So we're thinking Rebel will probably get, 5-ish kilometres out. He's probably looking close at, I think, 16-minute pace, isn't he, at the moment? We'll get the 2K split actually, though fairly soon, which is around about I think around about 78s, is it? About 77s. So we have got that split now, and it's 6:24 through 2K. So going at 3:12s.
So just inside the 32:30 pace. So somewhere between 32 and 32:30, which I think is again a fairly sensible start from Rebel. Not quite hitting that 16 minutes that we spoke of initially, but given the conditions, probably a wise start.
We're talking earlier about Thomas Wright and Ben Goddard. They've fallen off the pace slightly, which I actually don't think's too concerning. We saw Craig in that last race who wasn't tempted to go with the pacer, so there's just so much left that can happen in this race. Still another 19 and a half laps.
Absolutely. I think if any of these athletes saw that race with Craig, they might take a few tips from his race tactic and hold back, especially in these first 15-20 laps. Can still do a lot of damage in those last 5 laps. So Rebel still ticking it over as they come up to 6 laps completed. Doing an excellent job of just keeping everyone on pace without pulling away from the pack. Alex Mellingham tucked right in behind him. And Ben McIntosh, I think that is, Vale Royal.
The other one there too is Ayub Saji as well from Aldershot Farnham and District, who's sitting in 3rd there. You'll see the red, green and white. And Joe Morrow there is in 4th. So we're through 6 laps. Talking earlier about Joe Morrow sitting in 4th now, I think. It's run low 15 minutes on the track. Holds a 10k PB at Oxford Town and Ground, which is another good 10k road race. Actually, there's a lot of them throughout the UK, I think. It's not uncommon as well to see runners competing tonight who've got quicker road PBs over 10 than
I think so.
Track PBs. Why do you think that is?
I think it's availability. We've not got many of these top quality 10,000 races on the track. Everyone will look at Highgate and then obviously Fast Friday here. Aside from that, there's not as much opportunity as on the 10k on the roads. And also 10,000 on the track's just such a difficult prospect mentally. Taking off those 25 laps is somehow a lot more difficult than on the road.
Also running well in that front group is Cameron Dockerell, who's from Kent. We're about to get a 3k split. Do you think the shoe technology changes a bit as well? Let's get the sense it's probably a bit easier to run quick in Vaporflies than
I think that, I think definitely. I think the Dragonflies are obviously a big boost, but aren't changing the game as much as the road versions are.
So just gone through 3k there. We're going through in 9:35. So sitting on that 3:12 pace, which is bang on 32, I think. So you probably expect that's going to drift slightly as the race goes on. So yeah, probably looking around 32, 30, 230-ish.
Yeah, I think that's about right for these guys. It's given the conditions, anything sub 32, 30 would be a great run, and Rebel's setting them up nicely for it at the minute. And we've still got a big group here, so when we've got such a big group, you can expect a few to start pushing on later in the race.
Also in that front group as well, 79 and 99, Fintan Kavanagh in the African Violet in the Loughborough Uni singlet, and also Brogan McCauley in the Cambridge and Coleridge. Yes, you're saying earlier Cambridge and Coleridge on the team event last year, but slightly down on numbers this year.
I was saying that so I mean last year the Cambridge and Coleridge team was pretty phenomenal. Jack Gray, Jonathan Escalante Phillips and Hannah Irwin. Jack Gray and Jonathan Escalante Phillips are both back this year on the start list, but no Hannah Irwin. It's a mixed team prize, so they need one woman at least to complete the team. So we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Come through now, just tick through 9 laps, so we'll get the 4k split. And pulling out there, unfortunately, it's
Ben McIntosh of
Is
Vale
Ben
Royal.
McIntosh. Spoken a bit about nice singlets. The 131 David Prosser from Andy Running Club is wearing a
Yeah, he's sporting a very nice sore kit. Is that checkered?
checkered kit. So we are seeing the race break up slightly. We've still got 10 to 12 runners who are there and abouts in that front group.
Yeah, a few are starting to work fairly hard to stay on the back of that, but it's still a solid train going round. Rebel starting to stretch it out a little bit. George Mallet of Hercules Wimbledon is taking his cap off as well. I don't know whether I'm reading too much into the taking off of the cap as a sign that they're ready to roll, but his matching yellow cap is now on the sidelines.
Rappel's doing a great job there. We've just ticked through 4Ks, gone through touch over 1250. So that 312 has drifted slightly there. It was probably closer to a 314, maybe a 315 kilometre two.
And I don't think we've mentioned Cameron Dockrell as well. He's the Kent AC athlete, sitting in 5th place, I think, including Rebel. Running a really strong race, just biding his time in that group.
We said earlier our two runners in the orange vests from Bexley and Woking, Goddard and Wright, have just picked off their first runner.
Yeah, that's number 168, Drupad Yeracalva.
From the city of Sheffield.
City of Sheffield, yeah. I don't know whether he's come down on the day today. It's a good shift from him if he has. And just to let everyone know, the provisional results for race 2 are now live on Open Track. I'll just go through the top ones of them. So in first we had Craig Halsey, who we were speaking to early, from Brighton and Hove AC. He was dipped under that 34-minute mark, 33.57. Second was Tommy Trees from Belgrave, 34.14. He had that wonderful sprint finish against Rob Elmore, who was half a second behind in 34.14. Then another little group of Rob Kelly from Belgrave, 34.34, and Finn Johnson, 34.39.
Spoken about Ben Goddard a few times, who's actually coming through. He's from Woking.
Woking AC, yeah.
He's just ticked through 11 laps.
Yeah, regular down at Battersea as well. A lot of these guys train at Battersea will know each other well.
Loves a park run as well. He's a regular at the Woking park run.
Wonderful.
He's been running around about 16, 17 minutes for park runs there.
And unfortunately, that's our favourite vest of the evening. David Prosser from Candy Racing's called it a day. But he's not been alone in this race. We've had quite a few suffering from the heat. As we said before, comments are wide open, so if you want to give a shout out to any of the athletes, feel free to drop a message. That group's still working fantastically well together. And that's James Turner, we've not mentioned. He's also from Brighton and Hove AC, so quite possibly watched Craig in that last race. Picked up a few tips, a bit of inspiration from his club mate. And we'll be looking to push on in the second half of this race.
Similar colours there to James Turner in the Brighton and Hove. Jonathan Poole is in the Serpentine colours in 128. We've just gone through 3K. 5K, sorry, and gone through in 16:05. So
yeah, Rebel's not let up at all there. He's, if anything, he's moving it along now.
I've been impressed with this pacing. It is a huge effort.
I think so far we've seen 3 races with 3 excellent pacemakers, and Rebel's not stopping yet.
Have you run at the Walthamstow track before, Mike?
Can't say I have, actually.
You haven't?
Yeah. First time up in Walthamstow, and I'd encourage everyone to come along.
How would you describe it relative to other tracks you've been at? What are the distinctive features?
Distinctive features. Wow. I'd guess it's about 400 meters. Not very distinctive. But no, it's fairly sheltered. Well, I would say it's fairly sheltered on the wrong side. We've got the wind coming into the athletes' faces in the back straight, which is unfortunately not where the trees are. But aside from that, it's fairly well sheltered track.
Yeah, it's an interesting feel because I think I was going to say the trees along the back straight, something I love seeing at so many of these UK venues. I'm thinking Watford and also Wimbledon too is the huge surrounding trees. We can see that as well on the back straight. I think they do provide a bit of shelter, but just make for a lovely atmosphere. But Walthamstow's got a nice feel, particularly on a 10k when you've got people in lanes.
Yeah,
sort
we've
of 6, 7, 8.
got supporters out in lane 4 and 5, giving the athletes some encouragement. And we've got some shout outs in the chat as well. Thomas McIntyre cheering on the VPH boys. Had a lot of that so far. Very well represented tonight. And a little gap starting to form here. Rebel moving forward. We've got the AFD athlete and the Highgate athlete going with him.
Ayub Saji as well was the athlete from AFD, and Sean Renfer was the athlete from Highgate. He's registered on Power of 10 as having a Swiss acknowledgement as well there. So,
oh really?
Yeah,
got some international representation.
Got some international representation.
I mean, yeah, we spoke about the Highgate relay teams before, but yeah, you won't go far without seeing a Highgate relay team with Sean Renfer representing.
Through Ben Goddard just gone through. He's also getting some love on the chat. He's gone through 14 laps. Be looking to pick off a few more runs, but he's keeping a fairly consistent and solid pace. He is moving pretty well. Speaking of consistent and solid paces, coming up to 6k now, and this front group really has broken up as well. If you're in Group 2, I think you're probably going to have to start making a move relatively soon, I think. Otherwise, it's going to get away from...
Yeah, these two athletes that have stuck with the pacemaker are really starting to stretch it out. It is a good group in that second group, the 5 of them who have the opportunity to work together, but that gap is starting to really grow. We're looking at 40, 50 metres now.
We've spoken a bit about the difference tonight between staying with a group and just sitting in your own rhythm, and it can be a bit of both. There can either be great running in your own rhythm, or it can be pretty lonely as well. As Arthur Dixon Bell from the VPTH has run a fair portion of this race solo. Coming through now for 16 laps for our leaders. That gap is still opening up, so I think a lot can happen in the last 3 and a bit K, but I think unless they start putting in a shift there in this second group. There's also some interesting dynamics when you're sitting in that second group. You want someone to push up and you want someone to take on the pace, but you don't necessarily want to be the person that does that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Ayub and Sean work together now that they're alone there.
Rebel, we might just...
I grab a word with our pacemaker in that one, see how the conditions are.
Ben Goddard ticking through. So I think it's also interesting to see what happens at the front of the race now as well, between Sean and Ayub. It looks like Sean's just going to tuck in. Really difficult to know who's got the strong kick. Also hard to know how people are feeling as well at this point.
We've got in the comments, Jax pointed out that James Turner of Brighton and Hove has the greatest power of 10 picture of all time, and I noticed you added that in the notes.
Yeah.
And I went to have a look, which I think everyone has to do, assuming it would be him falling over. You said that he was falling over, assuming he was falling over a hurdle or a steeplechase barrier or something, but no, he's somehow upside down in the middle of a road race. So maybe we can have a word with him and find out what the backstory of that power of 10 profile picture is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, while it's always a difficult decision to know to do with your power 10 fight. He looked like he was coming around a corner. I don't know whether it was a video he's just screenshotted, but he's sort of literally kind of face planting on the deck. But I mean, clearly it's something he's proud of. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on his proud. But good on him. That's a spirited photo. He ran 31.14 at Highgate in 2019. So ticking through there a bit quicker than what they are tonight, but I guess, yeah, the conditions aren't really comparable. Coming through, this should be 18 laps now. Still very much a two-person race. Yeah, as I said earlier, I wouldn't rule out that second pack. It's been led by Jonathan Poole from Serpentine, who's doing a fair bit of the work there. Looks like Alex Miel-Ingram's actually working pretty hard to stay on that group.
That's Christopher Greenwood in the Kent vest, the white cap, who's had a bit of distance to that second group for a while now. He's been having to work pretty hard by himself, but I'm sure if any of that second group start to drop off, he'll have his eyes on picking them off and working back up to them.
What's the strategy with short colour in these events as well? Do you go for the traditional black? Do you go for...
It's been an interesting one, hasn't it? We've seen a lot of matching with vests so far. The Hercules guys so far, I've been impressed with their colour coordination with shirts and caps. But I've got to say, I just go for a plain boring black shorts.
It's harder when you got an orange vest, isn't it? You can't go with the fluoro orange shorts, can you?
It's tricky.
So we're through 19, and Sean Renfer is getting a fair ride. I don't think he'd be unhappy with this.
No, and they're holding that gap to the second group, who each time they swing round into a straight, just about glance the front two before they're off onto the next bend. But I think there's a bit of reluctance to lead the group, not least just because everyone's had to work so hard to get to this point.
Saying earlier, yeah, it is good being in one of those groups, but it's definitely sort of fractured and splintered off the back end. Joe Morrow, who was in that front pack and sat tucked in behind the Pacers, spending a fair bit of time running solo. So we've got 2K to go, I think, when we get down to... When we get down here, they've got about 50 metres before they get there. And it looks like, yeah, Sean's upset. Yeah, I wonder what happened there, whether he just thought, oh, I better pick up the pace now, or whether he got a tap on the shoulder to say, now time to do some work. But really interesting tactically to see how that plays out. But Serpentine, Jonathan Poole still doing a lot of work at the front of that pack. In there, Cameron Dockerell from Kent. It's a really good spot to be. Crowd's still building this evening.
Yeah, we've still got 2 full 10k races, as well as the climax of this one. So you've still got time if you're near Walthamstow to come on down. Short walk from the tube stop.
So if 32 degrees isn't the optimal temperature for a 10K, what do you reckon would be your ideal?
Oh, well, I'm from Scotland, so it's got to be 20's too hot for me.
Geez, mile to go now. Sean Renfer still taking on that pace, continuing to lap people. And they've just gone around Brogan Macaulay from Cambridge and Coleridge. In that second group, starting to do some of the work from Loughborough's Fintan.
Yeah, and Alex Mellingram's starting to struggle now. He's dropped off the back of that group, so it's down to 4 looking at that, battling for that 3rd position.
It's not an impossible challenge, that chase group, but it is pretty tough, eh? There would have to be some serious effort put into...
No, yeah, I think it's held about 80 to 100 metres but to the lead 2, but I think that's going to be pretty difficult for them to close with 3.5 laps to go. But it does look like we're setting up for a very exciting finish to this race 3 tonight. As Ayub Saj is retaking the lead from Sean Renfer, but not decisively. Sean's still sitting on him.
Joe Morrow's got a mile to go, just gone through in 28. 15 leaders now have... Is that 3 to go? So we'll get the last kilometre split here and we'll get a better idea for about what time they're on. Now Cameron Dockereel's putting in a shift at the front of this group. I said earlier that he was tucked in nicely. I think starting to do some work now, but he's also run a pretty smart and sensible race. If you've got people doing the work, just tuck in.
Absolutely. I think this is definitely a case of waiting as long as possible for these athletes, but he is now pushing the pace on in that second group and really stretching them out.
Some fairly pain looks coming through, but as you would be, to be honest, I'm giving pain looks at about kilometre 2 and 3 of 10K races, but to even get to, I think, 8-9K is an achievement. So they went through 9K in around about 29:10ish. So we're probably looking at, around the 32:20ish, maybe a touch quicker. Ayub Saji from AFD is taking the lead back again. Joe Morrow giving them plenty of clearance to come through as they lap him. This is playing out really interestingly.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very exciting finish between these two. They've shared the lead. You know, Sean's had his go at the front. I'm not sure whether that was them helping each other or whether they were just feeling good at the time and trying to drop the other one. But either way, they have pushed each other on to a pretty fantastic time. So Fintan Kavanagh was pushing on a couple laps ago in that second group. He's now dropped off, so we're down to 3 remaining in that chase group. So I think we're going to have a very exciting finish for the winner between Sean and Ayub. And then another great battle about 50, almost 100 metres back for 3rd place.
I've said Cameron Dockerell a few times, and I'll say him again, he's leading that second group. It's nice seeing the different running styles out there. He moves really well, actually.
He's got a lovely stride.
Yeah, particularly 24 laps into a 10K. He's moving really nicely.
Yeah, he's looking very similar to that first lap of the race.
This pace is warming up. Sean Renfer, you can see a noticeable shift. He has just taken the bell. They're just under 31 minutes.
He's still just having a little look round to see where Ayub Saji is. And Ayub Saji is still right on his shoulder.
Jonathan Poole, after doing so much work in that second group for a lot of the race before Cam Dockerell took it over, has gone into 3rd now. So it's Poole and then Dockerell. They are going to battle for 3rd.
Yeah, it looks like James Turner's just dropped off then, but up in front, we're still looking at Sean Renford and Ayub Saji. Really pushing on in that last 200. These boys are motoring now. 150 to go. Saji's building a little bit of a gap, pulling away into this last 100 metres. That gap's going to 55 metres or so. pumping the arms, working the legs. That's some finish from Saji here. Brilliant run from Renfer as well, but this is all about Ayub Saji. What a finish. Just dipping under the 32 minutes, it looked like. Sean Renfer crossing the line just over. But what a race we had between those two.
And in a similar sort of repeat scenario to 1 and 2, Jonathan Poole has done the same from Serpentine with Cam Dockerell. He's put around about 20 to 30 metres. That is still a fantastic run from both of them. They've gone well under 32.30, around about 32.20-ish. It's hard work.
Yeah, good finish there by Alex Malingram and James Turner. Carnage in front of us at the finish line. Athletes sprawled across the track.
Some still taking the bell. Ben Goddard's coming round for his last lap.
It's George Mallet at Furky's Wimbledon there finishing. Solid run.
So I guess
That was 39, Arthur Dixon Bell. Another Victoria Park athlete crossing the finish line there. But what a finish we had to that one. Ayub Saji just taking it from Sean Renfer. I think we went through the 5k mark in roughly 16:05. So for Ayub to dip under the 32 minutes, we had some very well paced, slightly negative splits.
Joe Morrow's just finished there, just under 34 minutes. Ben Goddard too, just over 34 minutes. Really strong runs. Tough night.
Yeah, very tough conditions for all these athletes. But great runs nonetheless. I think that's the Bexley athlete, Thomas Wright, now coming up to the finish line. Bringing it in about 34.25.
We missed too Brogan Macaulay as well from Cambridge and Coleridge, who was around about that 34-minute mark. We're just waiting on Ayub Saji, who's going to come and join us as well to say hello.
Yeah, we'll give him a little bit of time to get his breath back before we grab him and hear how he felt that race went.
yeah, maybe it's one line.
168 is just finished now, 35.10. We actually didn't have him on the start list, but still 35.10. Yeah, in these conditions is a nice run. And I think that wraps up our race 3.
I think it does indeed, and I think we'll try and grab a word with our winner there before we move on. The athletes are already starting to gather for race 4, which includes the English Championships, 10,000 metres, so not one to be missed.
Yeah, brother.
Ayub Saji was trying to evade us, I think, but he's been sort of
We've
called
grabbed
us
him.
back to the...
Can't get away.
Ah oui, bah c'est... Si, c'est un petit peu... Peut-être tu peux dire quelque chose en français. Souvent en anglais, c'est un peu... He doesn't speak English very well.
Do you want me to hold the camera then? If you can...
Yeah, do you want to go around that side?
Hello.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
Very good race, but I would like to run under 31, but my leg is not good.
You got a sore leg.
It looks so heavy, but
Okay.
I'm not speed. I just ran the half marathon, but it's the first 10 kilometers for me on the track.
Really?
Yeah,
I run always in the road. So my first race was an Aldershot 5k on the track as well. I win 50 minutes like this. And this is my second race in the track and in UK. I'm from Morocco. I'm not from UK for that.
Wow, yeah. How are you finding the races in the UK compared to Morocco?
The organization is very good. The people are very good. The runners as well. It's very helpfully, and I love it. This place. It's very good. Very nice. Yeah.
You did some cross country. You do some cross
yeah,
country.
I do some cross country. I do some half marathon. And I'm looking for a London Marathon in October as well. I'm just joining my new club.
They're a very strong club, AFD. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just joining us 1 month ago, and I'm happy for that and for the race in the UK.
And what do you think? Are you gonna do any more track, or do you think
no,
road?
No, for that I do road.
Yeah.
Road, for preparation for marathon. For that I do some track for get some speed.
Yeah.
And then I will train the long distance, the half marathon. Maybe I will run the half marathon in September in London.
Yeah.
For September, the Vitality half marathon.
What time are you aiming for?
My baby, it's 1:05 in half marathon, and I hopefully do 1:05 or 1:14.
Yep, yeah. And the conditions tonight, it was warm. Is this cooler than
yeah,
Morocco often, or similar?
No,
or?
but it's not about the heart. It's a little bit heavy. Not
l'humidité.
Humidité.
The
Ouais,
humidity.
voilà.
Yeah.
Voilà, humide. Mais c'est impeccable, c'est bien. J'ai fait un très bon race avec. Sorry for I speak French. But I do excellent race with the guy, excellent finish.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that. And thank you.
When did you think you were going to win? When did you know you, with a couple of laps to go?
No, before 4 laps ago, I slow a little bit because I'm not speed.
Yeah.
I'm not speed. For that, I stay until 2 lap.
Yeah.
And they go fast. Sorry for my English, not good.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's better than my English. I'm Australian, so I get told I can't really speak English sometimes as well.
French,
So.
that,
Yeah. Thanks for coming to say hi. Good luck.
Nice to meet you.
Good luck with the marathon.
Thank you.
Well
so
done
much.
again.
Thank you so much.
Very good running. Thanks for that. That was Ayub Saji from AFD who won that race in just under 32 minutes. Had a quick last.
I was about to say,
he
said he didn't have the speed, but that last 200 was exceptional, and I thought.
But we have a championship race on our hands.
Brilliant. Starting to get the very serious end now.
Said it a couple of times. There is a link to a GoFundMe page where the event organisers are splitting the proceeds from the GoFundMe and also the bar. So if you do want to contribute to the women's and the men's prize pool tonight, there is a link in the stream. It's always tough being held on the start of 10k, right? I don't enjoy standing on a start line.
This is very true. Although I will say that I've been held on start lines with much worse conditions than this, so could be worth for these athletes. So we'll let them get underway before running through a few names to look out for.
What's the worst? You got ice hanging off your nose in Scotland, or?
Oh yeah, some cross countries in Aberdeen I try to forget about.
Oh jeez. We're away race 4. This is our women's championship race.
So it'll be interesting to see, I think, at how the women approach this, because last year there was a specific women's only race for the women's championship, but here you can see obviously they're mixed in with the men. So whether the women will be looking out for one another to race, or whether they will just be trying to hit their pace, use some of the men as pacemakers maybe, and look to just run it as hard as possible.
Yeah, I definitely think it helps a lot. We were saying earlier that even though race 3 was earlier, that the men in race 4 are closer to the sort of 34, 35, 36 mark as well, so which will be really helpful, I think.
Yeah, so I think the pacemaker's looking at 34 minutes for this one.
Should we run through the women then in this field. Start
Absolutely.
with Louise Small, who is an AFD runner. She's coached by Mick Woods, well-known UK coach, does a lot of coaches at St Mary's and also AFD, and previous UK international athlete, Mick. But Louise ran mid-34 at Highgate this year, but her PB was 32:30 at Highgate in 2018. That is a very, very quick PB.
Yeah, I think Louise is probably the one to watch out for here. 179 if you see her coming through. Represented the UK at the World Cross Country in 2018 in Uganda, where she finished 38th.
Very well, mate. Yeah, okay, thanks.
But aside from that, we've got Tara Bage, PB of 38.44 on the track. She's at the Loughborough Open, but that might be slightly deceiving as she has run sub 36 on the road this year as well in January over in Spain. So maybe the conditions there were good preparation for tonight.
Yeah, a bit warmer. Spain and some.
Maybe not in January, but
This evening is a bit deceiving for a British summer, isn't it? It definitely is in the...
absolutely. And then moving down the field a little bit, we've also got 176, Emma Navesey. She ran 36.53 at Highgate this year, but again, another with a quicker road time, 35.26 at the Worthing 10K last year, and has been representing at the Southern Athletics League over 15 and 5K.
So our other two women in the field, Kate Eslays run 35.20 on the track and then a bit quicker, 34.30 on the road. We were saying earlier that it's not uncommon to run quicker on the road than the track. Just grab the split there. Has gone through in about 2:45 for 800 metres. So doing a little over 80-second laps. I think our first woman in the field there is Louise Small in the AFD vest. Might just grab while we are ticking through these early laps, grab Barney on the interview.
Yeah, pull up a chair, Barney, as we watch the leaders go through that first kilometre just inside 3:30. So, first of all, thanks for organising tonight.
You're welcome.
It's been a brilliant success so far. Can you just tell us a little bit about the history of Fast Friday and how it came about and how you're involved with it?
Well, it's really just a spin-off from Ben Poach's brilliant night of the 10,000 metre PBs, and I saw the YouTube video of his first event back in 2013. Thought it was a little bit quick for a runner like me, and thought there might be a market for an event for club runners. You know the sort of 35 to 40 minute runners, and I bumped into, and I kind of just held on to that thought and didn't really do much about it. And then I bumped into Ben. Never met him before at the Valley one night in that December, and I just I introduced myself and said, would this be a good idea? And he said yes, and he's been encouraging me to do so ever since. And this is number 8, and it keeps as his event keeps getting quicker, our event keeps getting quicker too, because everybody comes
Yeah,
here
absolutely.
often looking for qualifying times for Highgate, or looking for a second opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to say we've had a few running both Highgate and tonight.
And so it's just worked out well. It's much more low key. I don't ever aim to have anything quite as crazy or as we're not the full Poachy here. He's an absolute wizard, and I love that event. And but this is much more low key, but it's
Low key, but still the English Championships.
Yeah.
So when did that get involved?
We literally that was by chance really. England Athletics, the chief executive came down to visit the local club, Ryan Harriers, and I met him then, and I talked to him about Fast Friday, and he said that I think the trouble with the England champs at Highgate was that they were getting a little bit lost behind the British champs and all the fanfare about the qualifying performances that people were searching for, the world champs or the Olympic qualifiers. And then of course they had the European Cup too, and at that point the England champs was getting lost a little bit, and so they fancied it, and they've brought the championships here, and this is the third time we've had them, and they've been pretty successful. We do try and do our best to construct good fields, and then you get a lot of runners signing up, and then you just cross your fingers that most of them will turn up and run.
Yeah,
it's always a bit nerve-wracking, and I don't really look at my emails for the two days before the event, because they're often not good news. No one emails you to tell you they're definitely coming.
This is very true. And how have you seen the event grow over the last few years, and what have you learned from the first few to make it the success it is today?
Yeah, we keep learning, I guess, but I suppose the real changes are that when we first did it, we had a bit of hand timing, and we just had our own sort of local volunteer officials counting the laps, and the first time we really weren't very good, and then we kind of practiced it and got better and worked out systems on how to do it, and but then obviously once we became championship races, we had to get photo finish involved, and we had to get more officials and higher qualified officials in. Peter Corshaw does a fantastic job of bringing the officials together. It's a thankless job counting laps in this situation, and
very tricky one as well.
And they do brilliantly, and it is very difficult, and they do an excellent job, and I think it's we can't be grateful enough to them for doing this. And I guess really it's just the quality of athletes who tend to come. The first event was won in 32.5 minutes or something, and it took a long time. It's only the last 2 years, so this will be the third one. If they go under 30 tonight, it will be the third time that we've broken 30. But they'll be the only people who've ever broken 30 minutes on the track here at Walthamstow, and and this is a bit of a backwater of athletics. This is the only athletics event here on this track this year. The only licensed event. There's no other ones registered, and so it's nice.
Why is that, do you think?
I think it's just that there isn't a big local club attached to this track. There's the centre don't have a lot of experience in supporting that sort of thing. So I think it's and maybe there aren't that many people around foolish enough to organise them. But I mean, they do occasionally have Sal athletics leagues. They just don't happen to have one this year. But this is the only sort of evening thing. And the other thing I suppose I got lucky with was picking a Friday night.
Yeah.
I'm not even quite sure. And the title Fast Friday, I took 3 seconds to think up. But it really worked.
It sticks.
Yeah, it has stuck, and it's. But the Friday night, runners loved it. It became very clear that they loved it because they could go out afterwards, do a bit of drinking, and they didn't have to get up on Saturday morning and do their session. So, and now Friday night's proving. Every Friday you can run in London. There's the Battersea night Friday night. There's Finsbury Park. Got a Friday night one. The Golden Stag Miles now on a Friday night. It's proving to be the way to go.
Yeah, it's definitely catching popularity.
Yeah, and it works really well. So but in the end, I guess in the end, I'm always just grateful to the athletes who turned up. That's the most. That's one thing, you never really know whether anybody's going to turn up. You never really know whether people are going to because they train so hard, and they, this is brutal. You don't run 10K on the track very often. You do this once or twice a year, and so they've done all those miles, they've done all that effort, they've banked all that fitness, and then they've got a choice as to what they do with it. And to come and choose to run at Walthamstow is. It's slightly humbling in a way. I take great pleasure in the fact that they do that, and really appreciate it. So,
is that the hardest thing you find? Is just wanting to get more and more quick athletes in, or what's the hardest bit about?
I think it's bringing fields together. It's quite hard. So you kind of need a couple of high-profile athletes, and then others will come. You know, so they either all come or they don't come. You know, it's and so yeah, basically building and building. But I think it's and it's hard because you know they always have they always get injuries and you know understandable and you know people you can't account for it. You know, but it's great. You know, I mean, she's an athlete of Louise Small's caliber running here at Walthamstow. You know, she's run and you know won medals all over the world, and here she is in the East End.
Absolutely.
She's run a 32:34, just gone through 3K in 10:20. Actually, she's setting a pretty good pace.
Yeah, she's come here. I think she felt a little bit unlucky about her time at Highgate, and has come here wanting to do something much better. And there was a bit of a race going on for the front two places for the women. Kate Esther's tracking her nicely.
They've got a very good group running there. Louise and Kate, both the AFD athletes, a group of men pacing them around. So hopefully we'll have a good finish to the championship race.
Is this the AFD club champs as well you're in tonight, or are we missing some other
I think we've certainly had the Vicky Park club champs, haven't we?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a huge turnout from Vicky Park.
I don't know if I should ask you this, but who women's and men's races do you think you're gonna?
Let's have a prediction.
Do you have a hunch of?
So I'm not actually sure who's turned up. If Kadira Omar turns up, I think he's got a great chance in the men's race, isn't he? He's probably the class athlete. Other than that, there's the Jack Gray's running well at the moment. Dylan Evans turned up. He's looked in quite good form this summer, hasn't he? And
he ran I raced him last weekend at Watford. He ran a huge PB. Yeah, ran really well.
I thought he looked good, and John Escalante Phillips was telling me he's in good shape as well. So yeah, that would be good. He hasn't raced much this year, so
also broke 14. Well, Dylan was just over 14, but Jonathan was just
under, didn't he? Yeah. So I think he's chomping at the bit for a good run tonight, and I think in the women's race, I don't think we need to look too much further past Louise Small, do we? I think she'll.
Yep, she's certainly looking strong at the moment.
Strong, looking in control, and I think she'll.
Kate Esley is still there.
Yeah, she is. I think
she's make get away just yet.
But,
so
she's possibly running. Yeah, but again, she messaged me to say that she was coming in search of a shot at the title. So that's a good attitude to have, and fantastic to see.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad that you two guys are coming down and doing this. The feed looks brilliant, and hopefully everybody's watching this and enjoying the racing.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming to chat to us. You must be
now look,
one of the busiest
Robbie
people on the track.
On the chat there. He ran his PB at the first ever Fast Friday.
There you go.
Paced by the great Ben Poachy.
There you go. It all comes back round.
Thanks for putting this on, Barney. I ran last year and it was incredible to be here. And Dom Nolan was also saying this week that it was a really good event.
Shame he couldn't make it back, but he's got the British champs next week, and he's just too big time for us.
No, he's had a few niggles, I think, too, but he did love it. He had a great time.
He had a great time. Great photo. Thanks, guys.
No worries.
Thank you very much. So that was Barney Foote, organiser of Fast Friday. So we're back into this women's championship race. As we were saying during that chat, we've really got Louise Small and Kate Esley up at the front.
They've been through 4 now, missed split, but they went through 3K in around about 10:20, so a bit better than that. It's that 3:30
in the men's
pace.
Race, yeah, we've got Terry Booth, number 21 in the green vest. He is the athlete leading the race, sticking right behind our pacemaker, Joe Owen. So that should set him up for a nice time. We're looking around 34 minutes for the leaders there.
It's always fun, like Kate and Louise are doing when you're from the same club. I'm not sure if they train together, but yeah, sort of running in tow in a race.
Absolutely.
another best singlet. I'm seeing a few of them tonight. 56 Andrew Georgeson. And I tell you what, this Hart singlet's really, really difficult to miss as well. 107 Will Morris. I'm also resisting my Australian urge to pronounce Hertz as well, but it's
you're doing well. You're doing well, Hertz. Yeah, well, it's very fitting that we've got Will Morris racing, since we're actually just a stone's throw away in Walthamstow from Lloyd Park, which has the William Morris House and Gallery Museum. Famous son of Walthamstow.
Walthamstow, geez.
Yeah, very, very major in the arts and crafts movement in the UK. So
my history is nowhere near good
there you go.
to touch.
We're learning something on the stream as
all
well.
my arts and culture knowledge either. So we're shortly going to get a 5K split. We're looking at probably around about touch over 17 minutes, so it gives us a little over 34 for our race leader Terry Booth anyway. And then not far behind, still in that group, Louise and Kate Esley, probably looking closer to a 17:30-ish split, so they'll be around about that 35-minute pace, I think. So 176 Emma Navesey now is going through 12 laps, sitting on our, being paced through by our Hearts friend Will Morris. She's got the serpentine colours on. And not too far behind her is Rebecca Gallop, who was running with Aviv Boonen from Highgate, but it looks like she's just gone around him.
Yeah, she's starting to push on the pace there. And just behind them is another one of our Vicky Park athletes, Mark Bolton.
Rebecca Gallop's run 36.12 on the track. Not much quicker on the road, actually, just dipped under the 36 mark. She ran at Leeds last year, actually. Leeds put on this great similar, I wasn't there, but I imagine it was similar midnight summer night classic, a 10K road race. I think there's some quick times coming out of that. She was in that race too.
She's a returner as well. Raced here last year. Once you get that Fast Friday bug, you're back again.
Yeah, I couldn't race this year, but couldn't also resist being on the live stream either. But I guess I'm in that category of being two in a row, right? It is a great event, hey. It's nice seeing people in lanes as well. It's just when you're like gripping through a 10K.
Yeah, we've got a growing support both in the home straight and the back straight for the athletes as they're coming through. And a large crowd gathering around the food stand at 100 metres to go.
Emma Navesey has come through 13 laps now.
Pacemaker Joe Owen, he's a local Walthamstow lad. He's still working hard for Terry Booth, taking him round. Terry's now well clear of that chasing pack, probably just over 100 metres.
He's got a junior international vest as well.
With Terry?
No, Joe Owen.
Joe.
Pacing. I was in the 800 metre final at Bucks. I find 800 metre competition so interesting. People are running heat final day after day. It just
Bucks is 3 in 3 days, I believe. It's no let up.
It's difficult. But yeah, Joe Owen, whose pacing did well enough to get through the two heats and made the final. Impressive running. Slightly longer tonight. He's doing well though.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tick through that 5K. We're going to get a 6K split fairly soon. It looks like Joe Owen's just pulled off as well, just short of 6K. So Terry Booth now is going to take it up. See Emma Navesey still running with Will Morris here. They've just gone through 6K in 2030 is the split. Rebecca Gallop, we've said her a couple of times. She actually ran her road PB at Vitality, I think. Yeah.
Another solid
month
10k
ago.
event in London.
She must be in good shape then as well if she's doing that. It's a tightly bunched group here that Louise and Kate are in.
Yeah, we really singled out Louise beforehand, but Kate is doing a fantastic effort in that group. She's stuck in there this whole time so far. Stayed sheltered, stayed on the inside, done everything correctly. So just be down to whether she can stay with Louise, who, as I say that, is now starting to move onto the shoulder and push on to the front of that group.
She's also run both her PBs this year, Kate, actually. And interestingly, she ran 35.20 on the track and 34.30 on the road, which, if she's done that this year, indicates she probably can go a bit quicker on the track as well. But yeah, she's clearly in some good form. Terry Booth still taking it on. It's gone through 16. It's definitely cooling off, hey? I reckon this breeze has settled as well.
Yeah, we're starting to get actually into some pretty nice conditions for running. So these two still locked together, the two AFD athletes, Louise Small and Kate Estley.
Also in that pack as well, we've got Jake Whitebury, who's running for Harrow, I believe, and Callum Coleman, who's running for London Heathside. So
yeah, Jake's been setting quite a lot of the pace in that group. Whether he's feeling good and pushing on for a time, we'll have to wait and see.
you do look back now and you're like, races 1 and 2, you sort of feel tough, but it feels probably 5,
Races 1 and 2,
6 degrees cooler now.
They had a tough time of it.
Brother.
We're just going to say a very quick hello to Jonathan Escalante Phillips, who's in the men's race and warming up. You had a big run last weekend, Jet.
I was trying to keep in front of you, Tim.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, excited. I think it's going to be interesting with the heat, what people do, what people decide to do, what happens when the pace pulls off. And yeah, so I think it's going to be probably quite an exciting race. I reckon there'll be a bit of surging going on.
Recovered all right from Watford?
We'll see.
Mate, good luck.
Cheers, Tim.
See you out there.
We've had a bit of movement in this women's race. Kate Estley's now gone to the front, starting to push on that group, but as soon as she moved to the front, we had Louise Small also go past Jake, the Harrow athlete, right onto Kate's shoulder. Does not want her to let her get out of her sight.
Big move from Kate. I don't think you do that if you're not feeling great, hey? So that is a really positive.
I think it's a statement of intent from Kate.
That's a really positive move. Just going to tick through, I think, 7K here now. Get the split. He's breaking up turn international. Did you see the Diamond League last night?
Did some excellent races there, some excellent British performances.
What was your favourite run?
Oh, it's always the mile. It's always the mile. Good Australian turnout for you.
Yeah, great Australian. The Australian record was broken.
It's not a Scottish record was broken as well. There you go.
Jake Whiteman.
Absolutely.
So that 7K split is about 24.35. What does that mean for us? All right, my maths is probably not there.
Yeah, Terry Booth still looking very strong, picking off the lapped athletes. As we said in a lot of these earlier races, we've had lone leaders, but they've had the lapped athletes in front of them to chase down and work towards. So it's worked quite well for them.
Kate Estley still pushing up the pace, is setting the challenge down to Louise Small there.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very, very interesting race. I don't know if you remember last year, but we had Mary McClellan won the race, the Inverness Harrier. She pushed on fairly early from 3K away from Hannah Irwin, and I wonder whether Kate Estley is going to try and do the same thing. Kate Estley, sorry.
After doing so much of that work, Jack Whitebury is finally getting a bit of a toe from Kate and Louise.
Absolutely,
there.
I think he's earned it.
As well. We missed Rebecca Gallup come through there. She's also Doesn't look to be tiring at all, setting a pretty smooth pace. And speaking of consistent pace, it doesn't look like Terry Booth has slowed at all, actually.
No, he's still looking very, very well. Let's had Sam Duggan go past us, number 42. He's a Victoria Park athlete.
It is a big pull for the race, isn't it? Being an English championship race, it's really helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Being able to put that English title to your name.
So 19 laps through, six to go. Still in that group there with Kate and Louise, Jack Whitebury and
Callum Coleman
Callum
of
Coleman.
London Heathside, just moving up onto Kate's shoulder. He stayed out of trouble as well so far this race, and now looks like he might be interested in pushing the pace on, and has in fact gone to the front now. This is interesting now. I feel like the women's championship is going to depend on who fancies going with Callum Coleman of London Heathside.
he has put a bit of a shift in, hasn't he? Saying fortunately Rebecca Gallop's got a bit of company there with a Viv Boonen from Highgate, so it's nice having someone to work with there, particularly into the wind down that back straight.
Yeah, the breeze is definitely noticeable. Just watching
Terry Booth, ticked through 8k there, about 27:35.
Andrew Sanders of Orion Harriers, the local club here. He's chasing down one of the Victoria Park athletes. Well, it looks like Callum's built up a 20-metre gap, and the two AFD girls are still absolutely locked together. Nothing to separate them.
They were about 28 minutes through 8k. This is turning out to be a cracking race. Mind you, Louise is making a big move here just after that 8k mark. She's putting in a shift.
Yeah, Jake moved to the front, and I think Kate's definitely responded. Louise is definitely responded to that. But again, every move she makes, Kate follows, and vice versa.
It's interesting as well. Emma Navesey had Will Morris for so long to work with, and they're working off each other, and she's just gapped him, put 20 metres, so she'll be looking to chase down the next runner ahead, which is...
Well, that's Terry Booth on the track, but he's one lap ahead, so that'll be tough. I think it's the Harrow athletes up next for her. Adam Towle.
It's difficult. You're feeling like you're 21 laps through this race, but it just, I think being within the last 2k psychologically helps you.
Absolutely.
Helps you a lot.
Feels more like a distance you could do in a rep in training.
So Louise is still taking up the pace here. Kate sitting in a great position there, not far off her, particularly down the back straight where she's getting a bit of a break from the wind. '15 Adam Baker in the Orion vest. Terry Booth here, he's got 1,200 metres left. He's kept this pace on well after...
He has. He's worked well by himself. He's picked off the athletes. He's still driving the arms well, looking like he was in the first few laps, which is probably one of the most impressive things you can do in a 10,000. look as good in the last few laps as you did in the first.
Righto, we've got 3 laps left to run. Kate just at that 1200 mark has taken over.
Yeah, absolutely. What a race we've got here. This has just been back and forth between the two. I don't know whether they might have spoken about this before, whether there was a planned share of pace or whether this is just each taking a go.
Do you share your race plans with someone you're trying to beat, or?
Don't know. I don't know.
It's going to be very interesting last kilometre now. So they've got a K to go. They've gone through in 31:30.
Got a shout out in the chat for Andrew Sanders, the Orion Harrier. He's been going round well.
So it almost looks like the MCC logo a bit, the Orion Harriers, I reckon. Almost. It's a nice vest, nice white. There's a couple of Orion Harriers in this race actually. The other one is Adam Baker. So Terry Booth's got 2 left now. He's not really being challenged at all. So Emma Navesy's come through. She's got 3 laps to go. She's going to hit the K marker. We've got 800 left in the women's race. Kate now.
Am I seeing a little gap? Am I seeing a little gap, Tim? Or am I making it up?
I think Louise is still in touch.
Still closing that gap, yeah.
She's all right.
I'm getting too excited. Too early. Yeah, they're definitely still locked.
Righto, so we're going to hit 600 to go here. Louise is definitely still in touch there. This is going to be very interesting. Kate does look like she's tiring slightly. But she's done so well to push the pace.
He's had a cracking race. He was in that group 2 on the road, on the track, and he pushed on out of that. So here we go. Terry Booth's going to take the bell first. Fantastic running from him. Guildford and Godalming athlete in that distinctive green vest.
Righto, 500 left to run in the women's event.
Absolutely, all eyes are on these two. They have been stride for stride every step of the way so far. Louise moving to the front.
She's got a gap. This is going to be difficult actually to bridge. We'll see what Kate's got. She needs to respond fairly soon if she's going to bridge it. Through the bell in 33:38.
That's now starting to look like a decisive gap from Louise. She has kicked very hard in this last 400. That gap's now up to 15-20 metres. It's been a fantastic run from KS, and she will be rewarded with a silver medal at these English champs.
Kate Esley still should be well inside a track PB here. Barney was saying before that she ran 35:20 at Highgate, so in a warmer evening, this by Kate's standard is not a bad run at all.
Absolutely.
This is still a great run. But Louise still driving the arms, 150 to go.
Terry Booth coming into the finish now, by the way. This is a superb time for him. He's just going to be outside the 34:30 mark, but a great from him. Oh, and falls down onto the track out of that effort. But here we are. Louise Small coming into the final 50 metres. She's striding out all the way to the line. Brilliant finish. Celebrates that English championship. Well deserved. She's run that race brilliantly. And right behind her, Kate Esley. What a fight she put up. What a race we had.
That was phenomenal. And I think Kate's still taking about 20 seconds off her track PB. So, yeah, that was...
It's amazing what a good race can do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Louise obviously still had a bit left in her, had a really, really strong last lap and was just sort of sitting patiently. But Kate did so well for so much of that race to work in a group. And she pushed on the pace there at sort of 7-8K.
She was pushing it on fairly early. Obviously felt good. Obviously maybe didn't want to leave it down to that last 400 metres. Which is fair enough when you see that finish from Louise.
So Rebecca Gallop's just taken the bell now as well, and
Still moving very well, looking strong.
Emma Navesy's got about 150 to go. She's also run very strong as well. She ran 36.53 at Highgate, so she's also going to run quicker. Won't be a 10k PB for her, but it's always nice to run quicker a month later than what you did a month ago.
Absolutely. And as in previous races, make sure you hang about. We're going to try and speak to our winners.
Great run by Emma there. She was about 36.25.
That's picking up the bronze medal.
That
in
is
the
a bronze
English
medal.
Championship. So congratulations to her. Fantastic effort. Will Morris crossing the finish line there.
And Rebecca Gallop, she's entering the final straight now. Also still for 24 and a half laps, is moving very well. This is turning into a beautiful, beautiful night for running, actually.
Yeah, the sun's just gone behind the trees.
We're just trying to grab Louise now as well. We're in the queue behind, which looks like her family, I think.
Yeah, I think we have second preference between the behind the family. Fair enough. But we'll have her over in a couple of minutes to speak to her. And hopefully Kate Estley as well, if she's about. Find out how that race went for both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, nice run.
Thank you.
How did you find that?
Hot. Really hot. Yeah, but track PB, so I'm really happy with that, especially in the heat.
It was about 20 seconds quicker than Highgate,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
because that was another hot one,
Yeah,
and that was in
yeah.
the middle of the afternoon, so a bit better being in the evening. But yeah, I'm over the moon. I'm delighted.
What was your strategy? We saw you were working a lot well for the group, but took the pace on at sort of 7, 8k.
Yeah, I mean with the heat, it was just go off sensible.
Yeah.
Don't like burn out too quickly. And it was just kind of, obviously my target was getting a medal.
Yeah.
So stuck with Louise, I trained with her. So yeah, it was just like stick with and see what happens. And I put a few surges in, but I've only been running competitively for a year. So I just don't have that kick developed yet. So hopefully in a few years.
That is phenomenal. You've
I'll
only
have a
been
kick.
running competitively. You got a English silver to your.
Yeah, I'm over the moon. I'm so happy.
We were wondering before whether whether you did train together, and were you chatting strategy before?
Do you know what? No, we didn't. I only literally saw Louise like right before the start.
Yeah.
So yeah, no strategies. It was just with my coach, Mick Woods.
Yeah.
We just said, go off sensible, and yeah, see what happens. So really happy.
And yeah, it's a phenomenal run. How does this sit into what you want to do in the next sort of 4 or 5 months? What's on the cards?
I think my strong point is road running.
Yeah.
So I've still got a quicker time on the road.
Yeah.
And definitely the longer distances suit me more. So I think moving up to like a 10 mile, hopefully doing Great South at some point, and a half marathon end of summer. So.
Have you got London, Copenhagen one lined up, or?
No, not yet. We're thinking about which ones to choose. Trying to choose wisely.
It's a good time of the year before cross, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But no, the longer stuff is definitely more my cup of tea.
Nice one, congratulations.
Thank you very
Silver's
much.
wicked.
Thank
nice
you,
run.
bye.
Might just grab Louise when she's chatting to Emma. We're just speaking to Kate Estley, who came silver. She's only been running competitively for a year, which is, I think a pretty special run. Some pretty quick times. It took 20 seconds off her, Highgate time. Which is nice. Louise, we're in the queue. We are, that's okay. Sorry, I'll let you,
Yeah, I'm good. I'm composed now. I needed a moment there. That was tough. Thank you.
Congratulations, English, championship. That's,
Oh God.
yeah.
So made up. Like, I've been chasing that for so long, and I've always wanted one of those lions. I don't even know if I'm going to get one, but my dream has been to get one of those lions, and I've finished second so many times. So it's really nice to win one, and that's what I was really thinking about in that last lap. I was like, I really want to win this. I really got to go.
It is phenomenal. It's super cool, hey, and I think you, yes, obviously ran really sensibly and then had a great last hit. How were you feeling sort of 7-8k? Kate was pushing on the pace.
Yeah.
Did you have what was going through your mind?
I was starting to hurt a bit. I felt really good, sort of 5k, and I'd prepared really well. I don't know if you noticed, I had like these wristbands on which had ice in.
Yeah.
Had nice ice because I really struggle with the heat, so I was fully prepared, which was important. But yeah, I got to about 7k when Kate started making those surges, and I was like, oh, this is really starting to hurt. I don't know if I can keep this up, but I was like, come on, you can do this, and I really gave myself a talking to.
Yeah, it was a very quick last lap. What's coming up? Yeah, what's your training been like, and what are you preparing for? Or was this it?
Training's been going really well. My main focus was Highgate, and unfortunately I was ill for that, so that's why I wanted to come here and kind of redeem myself. I was hoping to run a little bit quicker, but as soon as I saw it was this hot, I was like, right, change the game strategy. It's about racing it and trying to win the race.
Yeah, and you're training with Mick as well, so you and Kate train.
Yeah, we do train together, Aldershot, so I train with them on a Tuesday and do some of my own bits as well on the other days, but it just works really well. I love Aldershot, it's just a great community. I started there when I was 14, so it's just really nice to keep going back and see the new talent coming through.
Lovely to have that, hey. Yeah, congratulations, well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Pause for a moment while we get a start.
We're underway.
Race 5, final race of the evening's men's championship. We've got a bit of a trivia question to put out at the start of this race.
I'll go on then, Tim.
Last year's, if you know the answer, I'll get you to hold off just so those at home can keep up. Last year's winner, Dom Nolan, suffered an injury in this race. What was the injury that he suffered? That's our trivia question.
Well, my main wonder so far is that he suffered an injury during the race, but still won it. Interesting one. We'll stay tuned to find out, Tim. You've left us all.
We will stay tuned. So let's run through. I didn't see Kadar Omar.
No, I couldn't see the Birchfield vest.
Start.
As he was probably one of the pre-race favourites. Well, definitely one of the pre-race favourites. So without him, we're looking at Jack Gray, Cambridge and Coleridge athlete. He was 9th here last year, 28.49 PB, and 29.22 season's best from Highgate.
It's about a 71 first lap.
And also can't see the AFD athlete Joshua Grace in there. He was 2nd behind Dom Nolan last year, so a couple of the big names might not be here this evening. But it still looks like a cracking race. Very distinctive style of Jack Gray's tucked in behind the pacemaker through the first 600 metres.
And I think in second there is Jonathan Cornish in the Hercules Wimbledon vest. So, yeah, we were saying before in our pacing notes, we got a Jacob Allen Superstar. he has some serious versatility. He's run a 3:44 over 15, 8:05 over 3K, 13:43 over 5, and 29:14. I mean, it's kind of difficult in that mix to pick the best out of those, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Absolutely.
That is some serious running.
Yeah, so I think we'll have no problem with the pace this evening. And they're already strung out into fairly in a single file line. Jack Gray and Johnny Cornish, Jonathan Escalante Phillips and Dylan Evans behind him. Got a shout out on the chat for the mighty stripes of Shaftesbury Barnet Harriers. Tom Butler and Dylan Evans in this one for Shaftesbury Barnet. So we've had 4 drop off the pace, but they've still stuck together and look like they could be working well together.
So first K split is around about 2:55, 2:56. So we're looking at around about 29:10-ish pace if that stays on. And the top 4, I think, are probably, as we said, Josh Grace not running and Kadar Omar not running. But I think definitely contain some of the quickest here tonight. So that's Jonathan Escalante Phillips, Dylan Evans, Josh Grace.
Yeah, I think we're also missing last year's bronze medalist, Callum Johnson. He was on the start list, but the Gateshead athlete, haven't been able to spot that vest.
That was about a 70-second lap. So Jack Gray, he's gone well under 29 minutes, has run 28:49, sorry. But this year ran 29:22 at Highgate, which is obviously a bit warm. I don't know how the temperature there compared to what it is now, but he's clearly in good shape.
Oh, absolutely. And you can see them stretching out there. That's Logan Smith of the City of Norwich AC, just having to work pretty hard, but a small gap is opening from him to the front group. He'll be trying to work back to them, otherwise he's going to be left in a little bit of no man's land.
Jack Gray's going with this pace. It's interesting. Jonathan Cornish is sitting in what is actually, looks like third, but is actually second. He is not really going with it. And Jonathan Escalante Phillips, Jep as well, and Dylan are sitting in behind that.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether they know how fast. I saw Jonathan Escalante Phillips's 5,000 metres last week weekend at Watford, and he had a phenomenal finish over that last 400 metres.
Yeah.
So maybe Jack Gray's not leaving anything to chance here, and he's pushing right up onto Jacob Allen, our pacemaker.
I was speaking to Jet before Watford, actually. He's had a really, I think, tricky last sort of 7-8 months, had an Achilles injury and was actually in a car accident over the winter as well, and spent a fair bit of time not running. I think he's only been back sort of training for
it's a phenomenal comeback,
11-12 weeks. He wasn't sure how he was going to run at Watford, but then ended up going under 14 minutes, which is
something else.
It is a run, which is pretty, I think, either if it wasn't a 5K PB, it was pretty close to it. I'm not surprised to see him not sitting on that pace, because he is a sensible racer. He's got a really, really good kick, but he won't do silly things.
Absolutely, that's the 2K mark there. Just about 550, 551.
Jep, after saying that, has pushed up and closed that gap right as I was saying that. So
they're not playing into our commentary.
To Jack Gray. So Dylan Evans as well, he was in that, he's got the Shaftesbury Barnet vest on, the vertical white and black. Previously a triathlete, he's from Tasmania. As well, ran a massive PB last weekend, actually. Yeah, so he was in a similar group to Jeff in that race, just over 14 minutes, clearly fit. There's always a question about how people pull up from races. Some people, it kind of does them better to race the weekend before, and others you can feel sluggish. So, I mean, both are, clearly very fit.
Absolutely. The other athlete we've got in that lead group is Charlie Brisley, Newman Essex Beagles. There is actually a a good group around that 30-minute mark. They'll all be looking to dip under 30 minutes. And I tell you what, the weather might not have been playing ball in the earlier races, but it's quite a nice evening for it now.
So Jonathan Cornish and Charlie Brisley is also in that group with Jack Gray, Jet, Dylan Evans is just on the back. Gone through 6 laps now. So one more lap and we'll get a 3K split.
We've got a group of 3 working well at the back here. That's Jack Eichelbosch, Rob Wilson, Ri Young So, the Highgate Harrier, 2 Highgate athletes in that 3 at the back. They're working well, sharing the lead. Rob Wilson, obviously, very involved with Highgate and the night of the 10,000s.
Yeah, he does a fair bit of organising for that as well, doesn't it? Barney was talking before about the night of the 10s and one event. It's an epic event. I wasn't down there this year, but
you're missing out, Sam.
Yeah.
Get it in the calendar early.
It is phenomenal. I love Fast Friday too, actually. Ran last year and it was, saying they're having people in lanes and it just is a really lovely feel down here. So going through 7 laps will get you a 3K split, but Jack Gray's still sitting right on this pace.
Gray, Cornish, Escalante Phillips, Brisley, and then Evans. They're working well together. Alex Milne and Ben Cole, Tom Butler as well. They're in that second group.
Johnny Cornish has run a 29.22 this year from Hercules Wimbledon.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We should not be discounting him.
He's run 65 for a half marathon as well. He's clearly fit. So that 3K split, I think, is pretty close to 850-ish. Probably a touch over 852-ish. So they're sitting around 29.30 pace as it stands. Be interesting to see how far Jacob Allen sticks on the pace because the race changes a lot. After that, I think you'd probably expect 5K-ish.
Yeah, I think the pacemakers have been aiming for 5K. Obviously, we've seen a few go well beyond that, but I think 5K would be a very good shift from Jacob Allen. Starting to see a few gaps. Escalante Phillips now moving to the back of that group. Whether that's planned, I'm not sure, but we'll wait and see on that one.
Alex Milne, 103, who's in the front of that sort of next chase group. He's also in the Hercules Wimbledon vest.
Which is a short one for him as well. Selected to run for GB at the 50K European Champs.
Geez, that is a step down. Well, for most people tonight, I think, sort of 3K, 5K.
It's been interesting to see
there's a 50K run there.
The mix of some athletes stepping down from the half and the marathon, while others are stepping up from more the 3K, 5K range, and they're sort of meeting in the middle in this 10,000.
Nine laps now for Jacob Allen.
A small gap opening to Jonathan Escalante Phillips. Ben Cole and Alex Milne will be looking forward, trying to work up to him. Then Tom Butler, Joshua Entwistle, recently won the Essex 5,000 metre champs.
Dylan also had a great cross-country season this year as well, yeah.
He did. I saw him run away from me in the Middlesex Championships. Didn't only saw him for the first 100 metres before he was outside.
Did he win the Surrey League as well? I think.
Not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, a phenomenal cross-country season, and he's converting it well into the track season so far.
Yeah, so this will be the 4K split. Still the same group ticking along. The gap to Jep, Jonathan Escalante Phillips is still opening. He worked hard around about that mile mark to push up onto that group, but slipped back. That's 2K in 11:47.
And now Dylan Evans is the one starting to feel this pace a little
4K.
bit. couple of metres opening up from Charlie Brisley back to Dylan Evans. I tell you what, if you're watching in the stream now, give us your predictions. 1, 2, 3. Who's going to take this race? Because it's still pretty even between these three.
I say as well, in the chat there's a link to a GoFundMe, which is contributing to a prize pool for the winning woman, which was Louise Small, and the winner from this race, so they'll be the English champions. That the takings from the GoFundMe combined with the profits from the bar tonight will be split by the winners. The link is in the chat.
That trio of Rob Wilson, Jack Eichel Bosch, Rui Young So, they're still working very well together. I think they'll have an eye on the clock, see what they can clock.
So it's Dylan Evans now. We spoke about Jet before, just fallen slightly off the pace. The gap's opening up.
Yeah, it looks like he's just moving back to Ben Cole and Alex Milne, and hopefully, if there is, they do bridge the gap, that'll give someone for Escalante Phillips to work with. But it's still a bit of a lonely run for Tom Butler and Shaftesbury Barnett there. So we've got a couple of differing opinions in the chat. Sam Todd, he's backing Johnny Cornish, whereas Owen Hind thinks the experience of Jack Gray. I mean, he knows this race well, and he's been stuck on the back of Jacob Allen for the last few kilometres.
Charlie Brisley in there as well. He's raced a lot this year, did the 10K at Bucks, came 5th in just under 31 minutes, but yeah, championship races, the time's pretty much irrelevant. To come 5th at Bucks is a really solid run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Run 14:20 at Watford BMC just last week. It's a strong run, though, to be in that group this far through.
True, and I think we just missed the 5K split. But that's about 14:40 at the 5K mark. Jacob Allen's stepped off the track now, so we're into the real racing. He set them up brilliantly. And Jack Gray still pushing it on at the front. Checks his watch as he comes past with 12 laps remaining.
It's interesting. I think the gap's closed a bit to Dylan Evans. I wouldn't think that's a bad position to be in at all, because often that front group, if the pace doesn't tick along and it pulls up slightly, Dylan can jump right on the back of that.
Absolutely. Looks like
which I think is still closing.
Chat's fairly split between Johnny Cornish and Jack Gray. We've had a few fans of both. Even someone backing Ben Cole, if someone has a tough second half of the race, Ben Cole to come through for a medal. Very consistent, Ben Cole. Knows what he's doing, so that wouldn't surprise me either, to be honest.
Will Mycroft commenting in the chat. He's been selected for the, the 50 kilometre?
50K European,
50K
yeah, he'll be joining Alex Milne. Milne in that one.
Have you done a 50K race before?
Can't say I have, Tim, and I don't plan on doing one either.
What would it have to take you to get into a 50K race, you reckon?
More money than you have, Tim.
That is a long way. That is a very long way.
So Johnny Cornish now at the front. Jack Gray relinquishing the lead Whether that's by design, we'll have to wait and see. But Brisley's followed Johnny Cornish right the way through, and this pack of three are still locked together.
We're speaking about Mycroft in the chat, and just as we were doing that, Alex Milne came past, also selected to represent the 50-kilometre championships as well, internationally. So he's working with Jep too. Like I said about Dylan, I think Jep's probably a bit far back to bridge that gap. I think it's going to be harder for him to do, but Dylan has actually bridged that up to sit in fourth now. Interesting, isn't it, to like have the discipline to like let a race sort of go by as the pacer and the front group are running away from you, but then to jump.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Jump back on it again.
So that's a phenomenal move from Dylan Evans to get back into that pack.
That was definitely a slower kilometre. I think that was over 3 minutes, that.
Yeah, so the Jacob Allen moving out has cooled the pace a little bit, allowed Dylan to get back in. Oh, and who in the chat had Dylan Evans coming back into this? Didn't see him mentioned, but I think he's now a factor in the race.
Yeah, he absolutely is. As I was saying before, he's in great shape at the moment. 1:45, Logan Smith, running for City of Norwich, just gone through 6K too in about 18:30.
Been a bit of a lonely run for Logan, but he's digging in well, keeping working. That's good to see.
And from AFD, Alex Poynton has just gone through 6 as well.
This trio at the back still working brilliantly well for a time, although I must say Rob Wilson is doing a large portion of the work for Jack Eichelbosch and Roy Young-So.
I reckon you need a nudge at some point just to say...
Will he look round and say, come on lads, I've dragged you round 6K, so help us out.
Dylan's taking up the pace there in that group.
Yeah, maybe not a bad thing, keeping his rhythm going. He caught them, he doesn't want to slow down as well. And he's just going to try and push the pace on at his pace.
So I was talking before about Dom Nolan, right?
Oh yeah, you set us up with some trivia.
Okay,
how Dom Nolan,
the trivia question.
How Dom Nolan injured himself.
So I won't give you the answer yet, but technically it wasn't. It was at the event, but it wasn't between the start of the clock and the end of the clock. That's the other thing.
It wasn't a racing injury.
It was pretty close to, but it wasn't a racing. It wasn't. Didn't happen during the duration of the event.
Well, we'll find out.
It is a curious injury. We'll get you a lap split here at the 17th lap.
Now we've got Liam D coming in the chat. He's backing Dylan, back in the Shaftesbury Barnet stripes, and he is looking good. He's come back to that group and gone to the front.
That was closer to a 74, that lap.
They have slowed a little bit, but I think that gap to Ben Cole, who's in 5th currently, it's a big gap for Ben to close, maybe 80 metres or so. And those guys have slowed, but not by too much.
So this will be the 7K split coming up here, so there'll be 3 left.
Yeah, it looks like it's just inside the 21-minute mark, so...
You'd expect a quicker than 3-minute K last 3 laps as well, so...
Yeah, I think these guys are capable of faster, so we could see a blindingly fast last few K.
It is so difficult to run quick when the pacer comes off. You've almost kind of, I don't know, ideally what do you want? Like to have pre-agreed outside a championship race and pre-agreed you're going to take 2-3 laps each, or what's the...
Yeah, it's very easy to start looking around and looking at other people and not pushing the pace on.
Would you be in that category of agreeing before the race that, yeah, I'll take a couple of laps and then...
I'm not often in the position in championship races to make those calls. But Charlie Brisley's now at the front. He's taken over from Dylan Evans, who's still just sitting on his shoulder. that group of 4 not breaking up anytime soon.
Jonathan Escalante Phillips is about 150 behind that lead group, so you'd think that's definitely going to be difficult. The winner comes from those 4 anyway.
I think that's probably correct, yeah.
Gray, Evans, Brisley or Cornish.
Yeah. Ben Cole is working really well in 5th position. I think it's going to be tough for him to come back. Then we've got Escalante Phillips, who is just being closed a little bit by Alex Milne now coming up towards him. The trio at the back of our race, still being dragged along by Rob Wilson. I think these two owe Rob Wilson a drink at the end of this, Ree Young-So and Jack Eichelbosch. He's pulling them back towards Alex Poynton of AFD.
There's a food van on the back straight. You reckon you just point to the van on the way past and say,
Absolutely.
"Hey, you're buying me dinner"?
He's earned it. So Dylan Evans back at the front now. These two just taking it in turns. Jack Gray biding his time. I haven't seen him move up from 4th in that group for quite a while. Although again, as soon as I say that, he's starting to move out a little bit and into lane 2 to get alongside the other competitors.
Curious comment from Tom Higgs on the chat. Cornish is suited to the conditions. If you can elaborate, Tom, for us, that'd be useful. If he's running for Hercules Wimbledon, so
it's particularly sunny down in South London, Southwest London,
South London.
It's sun always shines in Southwest London.
He could have spent the last few months in warm weather, been in Spain.
Yeah, so Rob Wilson has now brought Alex Poynton back to that group. Brilliant running from him. He has just dug in this whole race, pulled those other 2 lads with him. I hope he gets the reward of a solid time.
So 24 minutes there through 8K. So we're looking probably 29:45, 29:50-ish.
If they finish hard, yeah, absolutely. We're definitely on for a sub-30 clocking, which is always great to see. But I don't think we're worried too much about time tonight. I think this is going to be all about the win and who takes home that English Championship.
James Bowler's definitely put a fair point in there. You never know what's going to happen in this weather. It's hard to know how good they're feeling. Could be someone sitting in there feeling, I just want to wait, let someone else do the work and then pounce. But you could also be
absolutely
gritting your back molars.
I tell you who is putting a great race, he's gone under the radar a little bit. It's Tom Butler of Shaftesbury Barnet Harriers. He has moved right up behind Alex Milne and Jonathan Escalante Phillips. And he's looking very strong. I wonder whether he'll just try and go straight past him.
It's about 3:50 mark here. We've got a mile left.
Now a small gap opening back out to Dylan Evans in 4th. That's the pressure being applied by Johnny Cornish.
Johnny Cornish has got a nice running style, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
I've said it often. I've enjoyed picking out 1 or 2 people from each race that's got a nice style.
I appreciate a nice stride.
I do appreciate a nice stride. Johnny Cornish looks very good.
He looks very
when
smooth.
he runs. Yeah.
So it looks like the 3 that managed to go with the pacemaker and break away earlier in the race, although they were joined by Dylan Evans, it looks like those 3 might be pulling away again, and that could be where our medals are decided. Logan Smith still running a great run there for Norwich. He's digging in. He's been solo for so much of this race.
Dylan is still there. He's on the back of that group.
He is still there. I was writing him off too early.
1,200 to go.
Coming up to some lapped athletes now. They've passed a couple.
4 people into 3 medals.
That maths doesn't work.
I absolutely would not be writing Dylan off at all. This will be very interesting. Jack Gray, obviously, that PB of 28.50 a couple of years ago. He's pushing now, actually.
He is.
As we come up to the K mark.
He has waited He's waited for this. But he's not taking it quite yet. .27 with 1 kilometre to go. So I suspect a big finish here will take us under the 30-minute barrier. Which is always great in a championship race. Tom Butler has now gone past Jonathan Escalante-Phillips and Alex Milne, although Jonathan Escalante-Phillips has latched straight onto him.
Jep does close very hard. I'd be curious to see his last couple of laps.
I'm going to get a clock on that.
So
800 metres. Oh, it's too close to call. I don't know, Tim.
we've got 800. I was going to say the last 800 was in 2:24. You suspect that's 71, so it's still quick for the last 8. Johnny Cornish is...
He's pushing it on, and has been for a while.
He doesn't want to... That looks like he doesn't want a super quick burner. Dylan is still there. Anyone can win it.
Absolutely.
I'm not guessing from here.
Oh, come on, Tim.
Nah, not in the game of guessing. It's really difficult to resist the urge to sort of jump up and cheer for people.
Yeah, the lapped athletes have joined the lead group for this. Still Johnny Cornish. They're coming up to the bell now. They're going to hit the bell in about 28:52, 28:51 at the bell.
They're 72 lap.
They're side by side. There's a group of 4 of them. Cornish, Brisley, Gray, and Evans. There's absolutely locked. There's nothing to choose between them now. Someone's got to make a big move at some point.
Brisley trying to take up the pace from Cornish. Oh, Dylan Evans has just flicked the switch.
Absolutely huge move from Dylan Evans.
Brisley's gone with him though. Cornish looks like he's off the back.
They've just gone out of our sight around the 10.
Brisley again.
200 metre mark.
Brisley's gone again. But Dylan's coming back at him.
It's Brisley and Evans coming into the home straight. Huge support all the way to the line from lane 3. But who's got it?
Dylan's coming up the inside lane.
Brisley edges it. English champion, 29:55. What a run.
62-second last lap. That was incredible.
That was phenomenal. That kick down the back straight.
Yeah, Dylan went first. Absolutely flicked the switch. I thought he was gone. That was a really gutsy run from both of them. Cornish to take the pace for so long. That was phenomenal. That was a cracking race. Nice run. That was phenomenal. 62 last lap.
See Facebook.
You got back on the train. Mate, that was phenomenal.
Dylan Evans joining us for a quick word. Jonathan Escalante-Phillips and Tom Butler just crossing the line there in about 30-40.
Do you mean Sydney?
We've
Alex
just
Milne inside the 31 minute.
We've just dug up from Messenger a photo from old time. Anyway, we'll park that for a tick. We'll come back to Dylan. That was a phenomenal finish, 62 last lap. So Brisley took the win in 29:55, about a metre from Dylan.
And I've got to say, no one in the chat picked him.
Yeah, jeez.
Gotta love the underdog.
Gotta love the underdog.
Sure, we'll have a word with Charlie once he's recovered. New English champion over 10,000 metres with an unbelievable last 200 metres.
I might try and grab him quickly, actually. It's so difficult to know how they're going to finish. Hey? Still finishing there.
Alex Poynton and Jack Eichelbosch just finishing there. 31:45. Fantastic efforts. We've said conditions have got better, but they are still tough out there. So
very tough.
Everyone in that race coming in sub 32. And brilliant to have the winner sub 30.
Yeah, I think we're just Jack.
We're managing to grab
Dylan Evans, second place. Wow, that was incredible last lap. Yeah, talk us through the race.
Yeah, like obviously I think as everyone was feeling like this week and then today, like the weather just absolutely, went up to some pretty high temperatures, and I think I knew this morning whilst I was at work that there was a couple of guys dropping out of the race, and I knew that I was just going to have to come out here and be a bit more sensible in the first half, to sort of stick in there with them. About 4k they broke a little bit of a gap, and I just thought they were running way too quick, and obviously they ended up dropping back, and I was tossing and turning what I should do, and then last week I sort of relied on a fast last lap, so I thought I'd just go for it again.
What's going through your head there? Because they gapped you by 40 or 50 metres when the pacer left. Are you thinking this is going to come back to me this race? See what happens when the pacer comes out, or what are you thinking there?
Yeah, I mean I've raced sort of all these guys quite a bit over the last 2 years, I'd say, and I'd say we're sort of all quite evenly paced if you sort of consider road, track, cross country. So I knew that they weren't going to put in massive distance, and I still had Escalante behind me, and I thought that he could come through. So the goal before I started was just to relax the first 6k, and that's what I did, and I didn't even really bother about looking where they were.
Incredible run the last couple of weeks. You ran a big PB last week. Where are you going from here? What's the plan for the next sort of couple of months?
Tonight was sort of a target to try and run really well. With the weather, I sort of made it sort of a race rather than a time goal. But the next I've got I think 4 or 5 weeks now before I sort of go away. So targeting the MK PB 5k, and maybe another 3k out at Wimbledon. Looks like it'll be a good event.
MK was hot last year. If it's like that in a couple of weeks, I'm sure you'll run well like you did tonight. Thanks for joining us. That was a great run, mate. Well done.
Thanks, Sam.
Might just grab Charlie as well. Charlie Brisley, congratulations. Yeah, talk us through it. How did that feel?
I don't know, I just wasn't expecting it, to be honest. Like, I came in here just as the challenger kind of thing, and I don't know. I'm lost for words. I don't know.
When in the race did you think, I can win this? I'm in with the chance.
Probably 800 to go, and then I don't know. I was still there, and I don't know. Somehow I just came back, and
And last lap, so Dylan, it looks like flicked the switch with about 250 metres to go. Were you just sort of planning to latch on to whoever went, or?
I know I haven't got the best kit, so I prefer to sit on someone and then draw off their energy, and then I just went and didn't know what happened really. But
it was phenomenal. You did so well to hold him off. Incredible run. Talk us through the last few months. You've raced a lot this year. You did the Bucks 10,000 and raced Watford last weekend. What was your lead up like to this?
Well, to be honest, I weren't in the best shape, so I was just going to come into this thinking just to run as hard as I can and just try and hold on, but I don't know, I just can't, I don't know.
You're lost for words. It looks stoked. And plans this weekend? What's your celebration going to look like?
Probably just to keep on training and just try and pluck away at the times, because I want to see how far I can go in the sport, and I don't know, I don't know.
And can you tell us a bit about your training? Where are you based? Who's your coach? Who are you training with?
So I'm based in Dover. I've been coached by James McNeil. He's a great coach, and he's believed in me, and just try and work as hard as I can, and just I don't know.
Incredible. I'm stoked for you. Fantastic run. Well done.
Charlie Brisley, new English champion over 10,000 metres, and that's all we've got from you this evening from Walthamstow. 5 incredible 10,000 metre races, 2 new English champions in Charlie Brisley and Louise Small. It's been a good evening, Tim.
I need to close out the trivia question.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah, go on then.
Dom Nolan, he got jumped on by one of his friends and suffered an injury to his ribs.
In celebration.
In celebration. It impacted his training for a couple of weeks afterwards. Thought he had bruised ribs, but that was quite a celebration last year, and it was quite a race this year, like it was last year too.
Well, Charlie Brisley looks okay. No one's jumped on him. And it sounds like he'll be training rather than celebrating from his answers. So all that's left to say is thanks very much to the organisers, Barneyfoot and the whole team here to set this up. It's been a great evening of racing, and hopefully